Well, Spinagle for the Magpies needs to jump early. Big Arnold for the Bulldog. Gets his hands to the ball. First touch down to Bello. Bello can't take it. In hard there was Fraser. Coming through was Wade. He gets the ball up, but no length at all in the kick. Again, working hard is their captain in Dunny. Home heads it inside 50 with a good kick. Sitting behind was McArdle. He needs to commit himself now. He took a Port player out without the football. So the first free kick of the afternoon will go to Mark Clayton. The Magpies will clear from defence.
McArdle really does need to get his hand on the football early, just to get that confidence level up that really did take a bit of a hammering last week.
So the ball on the far side of the ground, and that's Danny Holm again working in hard. He gets it out to McGowan, scrambles a kick forward, and it was Ford that looked like he was held, but he got away with it anyway, the Port player. Ford finally gets the ball in his hands, kick out of mid-air. It's going to be a behind. So the first score of the day, we've gone 56 seconds. Centrals are on the board.
There's Kynan Ford. We mentioned him in the warm-up to the day. He also has to create a presence. He's been a good player for them since coming over Victoria early this year, but he's just got to take a few marks and give them an avenue to goal.
Burgoyne bring the ball back in. Does so out of side. Looks for Julian Wade. Well, an uncontested mark. Julian Wade takes it, gives the handball off to the running McGuinness. Now McGuinness, short pass the ball up towards centre half forward. Working up hard there, number 18. With the Magpies, looks like it's a King. It might be Jamie King out there. Again, going back, it's Cockatoo Collins. Ball comes to ground now, a chance for the Bulldogs. 42 as Hamlin puts it up forward, just couldn't control his kick as he was tackled. And the ball is out of bounds.
See the Centrals bench there. Big Radley Moller going to change off the bench today.
The throw in now just around 10 metres around from the Centrals goals. They've done all the attacking so far. The tap comes forward, roving it well. Scotty Lee, the veteran, was under there, but finally it comes back to Paul Northeast for Port Adelaide, and he just contentedly accepts the boos of the crowd and prepared to put through a rush behind. So looks like a soccer score now, 2-0.
Central Districts have started quite well. They've had all the play. Maybe looking for that first goal on the board. Coaches always start to get nervous when you control the play for a period of time, but don't get a score on the board.
Now, Centrals have spread out in a zone defence, which didn't work all that well last time because the big long kick came out and Waite took the mark. This time Fegert at the back of the pack. He looks to have the ball under control, prepared to just dribble it down the boundary line. Waite tries to get his foot to the ball, but over it rolls and it'll be out of bounds.
And you see the Iceman, Scooter Hahn, sitting on the bench. A long time, Trent Orman Allen and Matthew Ashley.
So the ball back into play, and Arnold's going to get to his first hand pass, gets it away. Scooting down the far side, Central and marked by Ford and call play on. So Ford gets away a kick and a great mark. How did he pull that in? That's Gowans, one of the tough men, gives a bit of a shove to his Port Adelaide opponent, as if to say there.
That is a great mark, isn't it? And looking at these Gowans, brother, I'm not sure if he was the Gowans that was involved in the play on the outer side and ran on, or whether it was James Gowans just coming out of the pocket. It's just very difficult to tell these guys apart.
What a grab. Being held by one arm, and then he just goes to the ground and snuggles that ball back in just before it hits the turf.
So lines up now, he's probably 45-degree angle and slots it quite easily. So the first goal for Central District, they'll move to 1-2-8, leading Port Adelaide yet to score. In fact, Port hasn't gone into its forward 50, Michael.
No, pretty good start from the Central District's Bulldog. They've had 4 entries into their 50, and as Neil's just said, the Port Magpies have yet to do that. Really are controlling the football, controlling the tempo. We've seen Danny Holm around the ball, and also that zone defence from the 2 kick-ins has worked well for them to keep it in their attacking area.
Well, the Bulldogs by 8 points. We're played 4.5 minutes into this opening term. Big Damien Arnold, who can test the ruck work again with Spinagle. Up he goes again. This time, well, stalemate. Comes down to McGuinness. He's around his body. Up towards Kane Ackland. Oh, good courage there was shown by the Bulldogs. The ball this time goes inside 50 for the Magpies. Geister goes to ground. keeps control of the football, gets to his feet quickly, then spots Bello out wide. Bello, he needs support. He comes inside to Joey Hicks with the handball. Hicks will go back to Bello. He does that. Bello has time for a bounce, but he decides to boot the ball quickly up towards Fawn. Good work going back. Was Spinagle and takes a safe overhead mark.
Yeah, positioned himself well on the back play there, did Michael Spinagle, and took a pretty safe grab on the second bite.
Off and running on the far side, and McGuinness is clear. He's got about 20 metres, looks up, goes into centre half forward with his kick, looking for Ackland. The big man can't get his hands on the ball. It spills. Coming through strongly was, who was that? Paul Evans, who got the hand pass out. Now over the ball is Bond, rakes it back in, could be pinged here in the end, and what's the decision? Still play on. Ball comes out loose finally towards the boundary line. Picking it up there was Didak. Didak screws it around into the hot spot, 25 metres out from goal. Ball punched away. Well done by the Central's defence. Or should I say, that's a basketball term, isn't it? It's still, it's defence. In any case, they get it out of their defensive 50, and that was well done. It's in the hands of Daniel Healy now on the wing.
Healy unleashes with the big left leg again up towards Ford and also Feagit. Both players holding each other. Bello just chips it up towards McArdle. He has a bit of pace on his side, comes around onto his right leg. It may be the second for the afternoon and the first for McArdle. It's a good start by the youngster.
Fantastic finish from McArdle then. Just shows some of his athletic ability. Led hard, kept the ball in front of him, and then to be able to turn his defender inside out. Just watch the pace as he gets away from Archie, who's no slouch over the ground. And from just inside 50, kicks the ball around the body, and a great finish.
Good start for Central. 14 points without reply, and the only time that Port Adelaide has gone forward, they've managed to get it out of their defensive area very successfully. So Tim Pfeiffer has the ball back in the middle, prepared to bounce it, and slightly favours Arnold, and he takes advantage of it. Good work out of the middle. Gowans, James type, kicks it forward into the 50. Coming out strongly, and he'll get a free kick. Donald Cockatoo Collins. Oof. Holm was
25.
Holm was just prepared to hold him up a bit.
We'll just have a look at this again. Danny Cockatoo Collins goes at the ball hard. Number 16 for Central Districts in Daniel Holmes, not going to take any backward steps. Found himself holding the bootlaces and didn't let go in time.
The Bulldogs are pumped up this afternoon. So they should be. They were intimidated in the second half last time they played the Magpies at Adelaide Oval. But Geister comes back. Joey Hicks just straightens the body and finds the player. Comes further afield to Matthew Slade. Now Slade looks inboard. The chip towards Gowans. Just keeping possession of the Bulldogs. Looks to give off to James Gowan. He's got forward, giving a little bit of movement. Spinagle tries to get across there. He used his body pretty well with Ford and then was held without the ball, so the free kick will come to Kynan Ford. Picks it up quickly, gets himself back, and just chips it up. And Daniel Healy, well, we've seen him kick the ball from well outside 50 on quite a number of occasions, Michael. This distance shouldn't be a problem with the breeze at his back.
Yeah, Kynan Ford making the most of a couple of fingers, just caught in the sleeve hole. But Daniel Healy, beautiful kick.
Camera position virtually right behind him, so we get a good idea, and he judges it beautifully. Lovely goal for Healy. Brilliant start for Central. They've got 3-2-20 on the board, and Port Adelaide yet to score.
Yeah, lovely kick from Healy. He is a beautiful kick. We've seen that over the years, both here in the SANFL and when he went to the AFL. But you see there, Feagit just had hold of, just ever so slightly hold of the jumper. Ford made the most of it, but the Dogs are full of running. We noticed them when they had a restart off their half-back line. Everybody from behind the ball gave an effort. These guys have come to play today.
Certainly have, and they've been very successful too, with a 20-point start. So Port's conceded that straight away. They get the tap out of the middle, Spinagle rather, but Central District comes away, and they'll go forward yet again. Lovely pass. Healy takes it on his chest. He'll want to swing around on his left foot. No, goes with the hands over the top to Gowans. Fakes his way around Feagit, and then delivers on the lead. Holm comes out, takes the mark. He's on a reasonably difficult angle, but given the breeze, he might just sit this out and get it home. You never know.
Yeah, surprising option there from Gowans. He was running straight at the goal face, inside 50. I think I'd like to see them have a shot at goal, but now Danny Holm, from a difficult angle, has a chance to extend a good lead.
Just having a glance around just to see what options he has, but he's now settled over the ball and decided to have a crack at it. Only 25 metres out. Oh, and the crowd tells a story. So Central's absolutely delighted with their start, I'm sure. They've moved along to 4 goals to 26. Port Adelaide, we repeat, yet to score.
Absolutely, and they have hardly had hold of the football at all. Just having a look at the statistics, 36 possessions to 16, more than twice as many Central Districts they have come to play, and they're playing good football.
Yes, that was a good kick there by Danny Holm. Fairly tight in that pocket. That's his first major for the afternoon, and that's the 4th for the Bulldogs. They lead 4-2-26. And they really have come out firing. Well, again, umpire will put the ball down the centre of Adelaide Oval. Bit of pushing and shoving. Gowans with McGuinness. Ball's down. This will favour Arnold. Tries to knock it down to the player in Gowans. Couldn't find him. Comes back to Heath Hopwood that is, but a good, courageous mark by Nigel Fegan. Under fair bit of pressure there. He gets up, pushes it out wide. 25 is Evans for the Magpies. He'll get his boot to ball before being tackled. Heads up, but a good mark again. Nathan Steinberger, good to see him back in the Bulldogs' colours.
Absolutely, a little while, but he's a quality player and he'll make a difference on the half-back flank.
Then the kick goes long. It's on the wing now for Central District, but boot to ball from McGuinness. Geez, he's good at that. Just gets it so quickly onto his foot. Never mind about that, though, because Central's is now back in control, and that's, who was that? Bradley Moller, I think it was it? And he gets it forward. It's the Gowans again, his 4th kick already. He goes into McArdle, edged his player under the ball. Lovely mark. And he'll line up from 40 metres out for Central's 5th.
We saw a shot of Stephen Williams before the game. Mark Naylor said he's not worried yet, but he's getting very close to that point now because Port Adelaide have just come out stopped.
Well, he's sitting right in front of us. He still doesn't look too worried yet, but I think he should be if he kicks this. And he has. That's a major again. That's the second one for Sam McArdle.
Sam McArdle's got an excellent conversion rate on his kicking as well. Haven't got it in front of me, but he converts at something like 80%. He's a wonderful kick of the football when he gets it. That's his second for the day already. And Central Districts, they're just everywhere at the moment. Even when the ball did penetrate the 50-metre line there for Port Adelaide, it was Central Districts that had the numbers at the fall of the ball. They're working hard. Their skills are clean. Things are looking very good.
Well, Archie, we've seen him a few times this year. He's been in outstanding form, but at the moment, the player he's on, Sam McArdle's kicked 2 in this opening term. We've only played 13 minutes. Again, Badford. That was strength. Gets across to Didak. Didak goes long with that left leg. It's going to be a mark here to Filippo. Decided to let the ball go. Back on it was Geister. Good hands back to Steinberger. Steinberger comes around with a kick. It just needs to sit. Working hard again, it's Vines. It couldn't keep the ball in before crossing the white line.
You called good hands from Geister. The crowd called throw.
The umpire didn't, and that's what was important, I guess, as a ball thrown back into play. And probably the smallest man there, I think, Bello, actually got both hands to the ball and punched it out of bounds, so we'll start again.
Just we see the interchange there. Big Michael Spanigal coming off. And Trent Orman-Allen coming on for his first run of the day. Looks like he's going down into the forward lines.
And if you've just tuned in, you're not seeing things, that score's correct. 32-0 so far for Central District, and we've just about got to the 14-minute mark in this opening term. And we're at a stalemate situation. There's the ball about to be bounced. So Arnold, who's done well in ruck, comes over the top, gets it down to Bello, tries to slap it on the foot, and McGuinness from Port shows him how to do it, kicks it in long, big leap from Filippo from behind. All to no avail, the ball's on the ground again, Geister's over it, and so are several other players. Eventually Geister paddles it out, Steinberger tries to break free, can't, he's in over it, struggling, nobody can do anything clear. Finally, Vines goes towards the boundary, and Bello now over the ball, and gee whiz, an absolute scramble, but Centrals did manage to kick it clear. Unfortunately, it's out on the full, so Mark Clayton will take the free kick for Port Adelaide.
Yeah, torrid and physical working close there from both teams as the ball's brought in board to the one Port Adelaide player that's had a good start in McGuinness.
Well, Cockatoo Collins now will set this up. He does. Comes back in board to Tregenza. Tregenza, well, this will test him from outside 50. He looks to give off. Gets very close to the man on the mark and then puts the kick up. The only player going up but he couldn't take it was Julian Wade. The Bulldogs are at it again. They're biting ankles. They're very fierce with their approach in the football in this opening term.
And Peter Jones has changed his tactics from last week. Last week we saw when the ball was in the opposition's forward line, the Central District's forward guys just staying in their positions. This week we see everybody has just flooded into their back line, so a change of tactic from Peter Jones.
20 metres out, a chance for the Magpies to get a score on the board. There's a chip around the body. Looks like it's come from, could be Bond. It's only a behind. So Troy Bond, well, at least they got a score on the board. It's been registered as a goal on our scoreboard, but I think it's a behind. It is.
Well, good desperation there again. Just got the fingernails to the pigskin as it went past. But that is the first score after 14 minutes from a Port Adelaide team that is getting trounced.
And immediately Central District come clear. It's Holm just wandering through looking for somebody to kick to. Joey Hicks almost got his hands to the ball. Well, he did, but he couldn't take the mark. The ball around the corner. Bond leads his opponent in Holm to the ball, and Troy Bond will get up and take the mark at centre wing. Up forward, McGuinness has just dropped into a space, and in fact it was Tregenza, sorry, and Tregenza goes forward into goals, punched away by Geister again. He's been doing well on Filippo at fullback. Steinburner, he'll come to the grandstand side of the ground, and over here he's got Healy, just pushed under the ball. Finally at the back is Didak. He's a left footer, but as you can see, uses his right foot not all that well. Dribbles it inside 50. Immediately, Steinburner gets the kick further downfield. It looks like he's got a target. It's Gowans. Gowans then to McGowan. So McGowan goes inside 50. Scott Lee wandering 20 metres from goal. Should finish it, and he does. A sixth goal for Central District. Scott Lee does the finishing.
I'd like to see the replay of the whole ground to see how Scotty Lee got himself in such a big paddock all by himself on the half forward line. But once the ball came out of the back line, came through Gowan in the middle, and Scotty Lee just all by himself in the middle. We're not going to get to see how he got there, but it was McGowan, good disposal, picked him out, and there he is. Look at that. And those 37-year-old eyes just lit up and said, I'll take this one. Thank you very much.
He's been picked up by Paul Northeast. Northeast backed himself when the Magpies went forward, but the Bulldogs just brought the ball down so quickly. Gowans with quick hands across to McGowan just set that goal up. Well, 38 plays won, a 37-point margin to the Bulldogs. What an opening term for Peter Jonas and his team. Taken high as Fraser. Again, Danny Holm, the culprit, as we love to call him. Fraser. Holm over the mark, but Fraser gets the kick in. Filippo comes out hard, couldn't take it. Bamford was there, got his hands to the ball. Matthew Slade, well, that was good under a fair bit of pressure. Good look there by McGowan. Has found Healy. Healy takes off running left leg, heads up towards Sam McCull. He's pushed as he went for that football. Back there is Northeast. Head down, tail up. Nearly penalised for holding the ball. Gowans comes back to McCardle, couldn't take it. Comes across again to Donald Cockatoo Collins. And the clearing kick again by Archie. The Magpies have the numbers out here, but Danny Holm, he has the endeavour and has the support by Slade. Slade will handball over the top to McGowan. Ford gives support to Shepherd. Oh, the good setup there. The kick wasn't good by McGowan. It missed Daniel Healy, but it's only 15, 25, maybe 30 metres out from the Bulldogs' goals.
Yes, they tried to get the ball across to Daniel Healy way too late then. Healy was standing by himself deep in the pocket. By the time the kick came through, it should have been turning around and kicking back into the front of the goal square.
Healy just taps the ball forward. Hasn't gone anywhere really, but Ford is over it. Manages to get it to Scotty Lee. He's going to swing it back into the, well, attempt to swing it back to the middle of the ground. He gets it about 5 metres from goal. Oh, McCardle went very close to marking that. Bamford's now over the ball. And the pressure on the umpire. Don't you love that? The pressure on the umpire. I dare you to call that holding the ball.
Yeah, we'll just have a look at this again. McCardle has almost marked that. Corey Archie was all over him, and that is getting close to an interpretation that could have gone the other way.
What's the bet this one goes through for a rush behind? No, Healy does well, but Ackland, that's a classic. That goes in the textbook as this is what a rush behind looks like.
Yeah.
Ackland, I think, has been moved into the ruck, so he's come from centre half forward, and it looks like that's one of the moves that Stephen Williams has made in order to stem this tide, which is going Central District's way at the moment, to the tune of some 38 points.
Yes, Trent Orman-Allen's going to take up the centre-half forward position now for Port Adelaide. Starting to just ease the momentum a little bit, but that won't help.
Ford won't relieve the pressure for the Magpies. The mark nearly taken by McArdle. Good pressure from behind by Burgoyne. Now he unleashes with the bomb over the top. Coming out in front again, but what courage! There shown by Graham. He couldn't take the mark. Lee's there. Scotty Hand, the Iceman, over the top of Scotty Lee. The umpire has paid a decision against Scotty Lee for holding the ball.
Look at that courage. That is fantastic.
It was Graham, wasn't it? I think it was, number 38. Well, Bamford, quick to his feet. Big Arnold comes out, but it looks to give the handball to big fella. Well, he nearly got it to Joey Hicks. Hicks gives it across to Steinberger. Steinberger heard the call out wide, and Damien Hicks. So he has time for a bounce. He takes his second. Can go for his third. He does. Good voice by Nathan Steinberger inside. Now gives the handball across. So Nathan, what will he do? What are Central's doing with the football? They come back inside to Scotty Lee, the oldest player out there this afternoon. 16 over the top. Or is it? It could be Hicks, in fact. As the Bulldogs make a change, Geister comes off and Lilico comes on for his first run of the afternoon.
The ball down, and now it's not even a contest for Arnold. He smashes the ball forward. Holm will pick this one up. Oh, he went to ground, probably didn't need to. Northeast sweats on him. Finally, the ball rushed forward again, and Gowans gets a hand pass out. And that's Healy for another one, his second. Well, the 7th for Central District, and boy, are they going on a rampage at the moment. 7-3-45 plays 1 point.
It's just a very open forward line for Central Districts, isn't it? It's coming in quick, but the players down there, they need to get their hands on the ball. Healy, McArdle, they are getting a good opportunity, and a lot of it's coming from the work around the ball with that man in Holm.
Well, Magpies, you don't see it too often, but they are second to the football. The Bulldogs forwards are in front, the Bulldogs backline are in front, and that's where they're winning their possessions. It looks like Geisen may have done a little bit of a groin injury. We'll get Neil down there at quarter time just to find out for us. But the ball back in the middle. What a quarter by the Bulldogs, 44 points up. And we're into time on. It comes down again. They'll go forward through Gowans. Gives a little handball across to Scotty Lee. Scotty Lee wants to set it up. Running hard at the back was Danny Holm. He just needs to be able to pick it up. Second effort was good. Comes down to Chris Gowans. James Gowans, that is. So James Gowan, he too gets into the multiple figures. That's his second goal for the afternoon.
You'd have to be lucky with that piece of headwork from Danny Holm. Just the tap that came through. Scotty Lee put it over the back. Holm read that so early, and he's there and in position.
Bang!
Meets one just off the head. Thank you very much. You'd be proud of that if you were David Beckham, I reckon. Just off the head. 8
goals in opening term. The Magpies haven't got one on the board at this stage of the game. Oof. I'd be swapping these boys at quarter time. This is a completely different unit than what we witnessed last week at Elizabeth Oval.
23 minutes in, and as you see, 8 goals, 3, 51 plays, 1 point. And just a little bit of push and shove there. McGuinness now trying to take care of McGowan. And the ball bounced back in the middle of the ground. Comes down to Bond. Bond's kick is smothered. Finally, it's Waite. Gets a left foot to the ball straight up in the air as they wait for it to come down. Great, big effort over the top. Well done there by Hamblin. Finally, Central's clear the ball away and taken a little bit high, but no free kick rewarded. Bond gets the ball now, spins once, twice, goes on the left leg, dribbles the ball forward, over the back. Central's in control again. McGowan, slick hand pass out to Arnold. Arnold just boots it long. He's got Gowans loose at half forward. Gowans' opportunity to play on, goes long towards the goal face. Marco Bello will fly unsuccessfully behind.
Yes, played from short there, Michael, didn't he? He had 2 or 3 blokes forward, just over the top.
Absolutely. I never criticise him though, because I'm always saying go to goal when you get the opportunity inside 50. I thought we were going to see Marco Bello get a ride. He'd love that, the little fella. But it's the Gowans brothers. They're just chopping them up through the midfield, and Holm in particular at the bottom of the packs is giving them first use of the ball.
Well, the clearing kick again from fullback goes up high. Archie's in the front position. Should have taken that, but didn't. But McGuinness starts off the ground. Goes out wide for the safety of the boundary line, and they need some safety at the moment. They just need to slow this game down because the Bulldogs really are pumping on 4 cylinders. In fact, 8, in fact 12, I believe.
They're going exceptionally well. You see Julian Waite underneath. He's made a reasonable comeback to football. He played a state football a couple of years ago and then has just come back in, as we see David Brown sitting in the stand. But Julian Waite came back in, had been playing a lot of seconds, come back in, played a great game last week, but has not touched the football much this week.
52 plays 1. Yes, the score is correct, and it is the 25-minute mark of this opening term. What a quarter of football by the Bulldogs. I need to replay this at training on Monday night just to instill a bit more confidence going into the finals. Well, Danny Holm, he's been everywhere in this opening term. Kicks the ball up towards Scotty Lee. It's good to see him start on the field. Forward, well, he should never have got through that. Wants to chip it up forward towards Gowans. Christopher Gowans couldn't find him. Great courage again. The free kick was there, but they had the numbers around the football again. That's Gowans. Has he kicked it? I don't think he has. The umpire puts one finger up, so Chris Gowan gets his first score of the afternoon. And it's behind. 8-5, 53. Well, the Magpies just on one solitary behind.
Yeah, the Gowans brothers are doing exceptionally well. I think that's 8 possessions to Chris already. They're just on fire around the ball. They're just running, getting to the ball, and now we see them come in with their zone defence. Really is choking it up for Shea Cockatoo-Collins to kick it back in.
Well, the Magpies again, Michael, just trying to clear the ball out of the fence. They're under extreme pressure. The Bulldogs again are at it. There's Big Arnold, tries to get his hands on the football, comes up to Nigel Fegert. Fegert goes down the line with a kick and finds. He finds the play, yes he has in Bond. Bond takes it, goes up further afield. All of a sudden it's Hicks. Hicks comes out, great commitment over the top of the football. Looks like Lillico. It is David Lillico. He receives the free kick.
Yeah, just took a little hit on the side of the head from Ackland, it looked like, as Healy gets hold of the ball, goes out wide with the right foot, and it's Gowans again that gets in the van, but well stolen by Paul Vines. Comes back inside the 50 to the leading player. Free kick, and the Port Adelaide fans are in raptures. Scooter Hahn is going to have a chance to put Port Adelaide's first goal on the board deep into the first quarter, and a clear push in the back as Paul Northeast, a very disillusioned captain, sits down and says, what's going on here?
Oh, the Magpies a chance here. The Iceman, he just needs to kick this just to give the Magpies something going into quarter time. Well, he's hooked that, but the Bruisers bringing it back beautifully. Bit of luck there. Oh, hang on. We were right behind that football, Michael. That was a goal.
Well, the goal umpire is in the right position, but let's have a look at it again. Could have come back just a little bit too late. Started off well left, and it just depends where it did cross a line, but it didn't go too far. But it's a score on the board. Scooter Hahn's disappointed. The Magpie supporters are very disappointed, and the Doggies are on a roll.
Well, Mog the dog reckons it's definitely a good decision. He's always right. He's sitting up in the chair beside us. Well, here we go. Bulldogs held without it again. The umpire has missed that. He's called play on. Didak's there. Also Tregenza. Tregenza with the quick hands over the top to McGuinness. He's in trouble again. There's just no support for the Magpies. McGuinness up wide, but a great mark going back with Slade over the top there of Bond. Slade goes out wide with a kick. Finds McGowan. And Gowans, this is. 21 is Christopher. Chris Gowans goes across to James Gowans. I got that right this time. And James just spots Bello. Too loose, the Magpies. Bello the kick, just a little bit of pressure there. Finds Archie. Oh, Michael, what else can they do?
I know, Vines with the ball now, comes out wide into space. There's not a lot of options up there for the Magpies, is there? And some great work there coming through with Steinburner. But you just saw as Vines ran out of the defence. It's coming off the half-back line that they've been so good, the Doggies. There's just no options at all. And the ball finally out of play as it comes back inside. Arnold goes up for it. Comes to Bond. Quick kick. Hopwood underneath it and takes a safe mark.
Heath Hopwood. Can only be seconds left in this opening term. What a term to remember for the Bulldogs. The kick up forward. It's not over yet because McArdle goes for the mark. At the back there, Scotty Lee just pushes it out towards McGowan. McGowan goes over the top to Danny Holm. The ball needs a city props and tries to get around the player. Held without the football. The Bulldogs army cry. The umpire calls play on. If he pays that, there's going to be trouble here at Adelaide Oval because the free kick now has gone to Cockatoo Collins when Danny Holm was screaming out for it before.
Brings it out wide now. Looking at the big fella in Ackland. Jumps well. Good mark to Ackland. Goes back, looks at his options. This is where they're breaking down. Coming off their half back line. Chooses to centre it up now. Goes to a competition. Very dangerous. Back into the hot spot. Forward comes across. Picks it up. Good tackle there from Fraser. Shovels it out now. That's Ashley. Gets the ball forward. Again to a competition. Oh, good mark, Tremenza. Hits the ground running, goes to goal. This could be a possibility of a score, but again it's wide and fails to score. Rolls out of bounds. It's deep now, 30 minutes into the last quarter. A lot of goals being scored, and there are some unhappy Port Adelaide supporters sitting around the ground.
53 plays, 2 behind, so 51-point margin to the Bulldogs. Well, 30-minute quarter. Really has the time on. It's only been because the amount of goals that the Bulldogs have kicked. Over the top of that is Trent Orman-Allen. Needs to knock the ball out. He does eventually, but the umpire had already blown his whistle.
Orman-Allen started on the bench, has come in, taken up position at centre half forward or on the half forward flank. Hasn't had an influence yet.
Bounce down again. Didn't really favour him. As we hear the quarter time siren, we'll just listen. The appreciation that the Bulldog supporters will give their players. They have worked their heart and soul out in this opening term. They have busted their guts to get hold of this football. And the most important thing, Michael, which I enjoyed, really has been that they're able to convert. They've kicked 8 goals in that opening term with only 5 behinds. A great 51-point margin.
Yes, a fantastic opening from the Central Districts. It really was their forward setup that got the score on the board, but it was through their midfield in the Gowns brothers that got them going. And they have had a really good start, and then that's brought up that score of 8-5-53 to 0-2, 2 points, and you're watching it live on ABC TV.
Well, we heard Neil Cross there at quarter time mention that the breeze this time will favour the Magpies. We'll just see what impact it will have on the game. As we see Steinberner clearing from half back, goes up high. Ford comes out pretty hard, but just reading it beautifully again was Daniel Healy. Take the good mark there in front of Mark Clayton. Well, he gets the ball moving quickly, decides to give the handball. Well, McGowan could walk into this open goal from 45. He goes with a drop punt. It's gone across the face, but the mark's been taken. Will the umpire pay it? I don't think he will. The behind has been registered. So the first score in the opening minutes or seconds of this second quarter goes to the Bulldogs.
That forward thrust starting from Daniel Healy, taking his 6th mark, the first minute of the second quarter. That's a day out in the air, isn't it?
Ball back into play now, long and direct. Typical Port Adelaide, if you like. Spinagle almost able to take the mark. Bond weaves his way through onto his left leg and gets it forward, but over the ball and taking advantage was McGowan. I think that was. Shot it out towards Healy. Healy will probably paddle it, but he'll get it over the line. Be content with that. Just a word on the bench. Paul Geister has a groin injury. They think he'll be okay. Geister in the middle of your screen, just with the blanket over him. He just felt a twinge, if you like, in his groin, and they think he might be able to come back on later in the match.
Yeah, no need to take risks when the scoreboard is as healthy as it is. 54 plays, 2. 3 minutes gone, second quarter.
Well, Bond, he's trying to find a little bit of form with the Magpies here this afternoon. Gee, the Magpies, they need to start well. They need to get some goals back on the scoreboard. They'll get their first for the afternoon to be handy. Bond again, he did that well. Gets the drop bun up forward again. Ackland out in front, nearly took a good mark there. Coming through, looked like Bamford. Gives the handball out wide again, so he's taken by Nathan Steinberner again. 45 was Hopwood, gives the ball inside to McGowan. McGowan unleashes with the long bomb up the top. Over the back there was Ford. Good spoil coming to ground was by Spinagle. One-on-one here, Scotty Lee. Bumped off the ball was Matthew Ashley. Comes towards Julian Waite. Waite gets the kick in before being tackled by Hamlin. Steinberner just covers his eye, but still takes a good chest mark. Will bring the ball back inside the forward lines for the Bulldogs. Is Danny Holm, the captain. And what a captain's quarter he had in that opening term. Danny Holm, right leg, heads towards centre half forward. Kind of forward back, and McArdle gets up. Couldn't bring the ball down. Bello wanted to run this football, took his eyes off it. Went without it. McArdle, good hands inside. Across to Danny Holm. Danny Holm across to Hamlin. Hamlin has time. And the presence to be able to put the ball through for another major. That's his first for the afternoon. And the 9th on the scoreboard for the Doggies.
You called it, Mark. Hamlin has time. They had too much time. Look at this. It's in tight. There's not a lot of body pressure. Finally comes out to Hamlin. And Waite just gave up too early, didn't he? Really was no effort to put a pressure on the kick. And Hamlin very pleased to kick that goal. We heard Neil Cross at quarter time say Stephen Williams really looking for some body pressure. They haven't found it yet.
I'll actually go a little bit further and tell you a tale. Stephen Williams actually said, start a fight, do anything. Just looking to put some pressure on Centrals. They haven't done it so far. The ball bounced down and coming off the edge of the square. Centrals just overrunning it. Gowans gets his foot to the ball, just kicks it wide. Over the ball comes Bamford, I think it is, and manages to collect the ball too. Gets it forward off the left leg into space. Coming out there is Filippo, hardly had a kick. He gets it forward into the touch position 10 metres out from goal. And eventually, he was met hard. That was body on body, and Joey Hicks gets up as if brushing off a fly. Thank you very much, no problems. Centrals clear the defensive zone. Big Arnold running out by himself. Eventually gets a handle on it, and he goes short to Chris Gowans. Good mark out in front of the eyes. Comes around on the right leg, looks inside half forward. Leading in the chase for the ball was, I think that was
Healy, I think.
Healy.
We just have a look at Joey Hicks' mark. That is fantastic courage, isn't it? And toughness. Just bounce back up. Get on with the game of footy.
Yeah, Ackland tried very hard to hurt him, and he couldn't. So Port Spinagle there gets the hand of the ball. Bond breaks away from Holm, kicks around the corner, and he's had a couple of kicks, but they've all been like that under pressure, haven't they? As Gowan slips back and takes the chest mark, looks inside centre half forward, poorly directed, because that's just allowed, it was that Burgoyne who slipped a hand pass across to Feagit, strides through the middle of the ground and then goes long. And coming back,
he's done it again nearly. Graham.
He's probably taken a fearless pill or something, because he's really produced a couple of fine efforts. And typical of Centrals today, they've been very good. Gowans on the left leg, chips into forward's path. He knocks it again. Holm takes the ball, flips over the hand pass. McGowan, from 20 metres. Thank you very much. Goal number 10 and a first for McGowan.
Yeah, fantastic. Again, it was Daniel Holm that set that one up. The ball came free. The chip across, looking for Kynan Ford, just went a little bit too far. But watch Danny Holm, just turns his player inside out, waits the handball to the running McGowan, just about loses the left nostril, but was good enough to straighten up and kick his 100th goal in league football. 14 possessions already to McGowan. He's around the ball all day, every game, isn't he?
66 plays to a 64-point margin. We're only 6 minutes into this opening term. The Bulldogs go forward again. Well, Steinlager just puts it out wide. Couldn't take it, was Clayton. With him is Healy. And Michael, the Port bench, well, sorry.
Just gone to it looking
there, isn't it?
Guys there, isn't it? Paul Vines on the end, just staring at the bootlaces, not happy at all.
Gowans up with the ball again. Oh no, the reach again by Healy. He's grabbing everything, gets it around the big arc and onto the left leg, heads up towards Scotty Lee, one-on-one, Lee in front, couldn't take the mark and pushed off the ball. Archie under a fair bit of pressure there from Kynan Ford. Looks like a drink steward, nearly took the chest mark, couldn't complete it, but held hold of her bottle before she got off the ground. But number 42, Hamlin, could have taken it, but he didn't.
There's a couple of other games going on around town. Centrals play Port at the moment. 66-2, if you can believe that at home.
Adelaide Oval, Sturts made a good start. 26 points. They're leading by West Adelaide, leading by 3 points. And in the other game, Norwood leading by 3 points over North Adelaide.
26.
Sorry, 26 points. So I get a
over
nudge.
The Roosters.
I get a nudge and told. Right here, though, the margin considerably more as Didak tries to break away. Lee's over the ball. knocks it clear. McGowan slips a hand pass, and again it's Gowans with the left leg inside 50 to the advantage. Or bad bounce, bad luck, Marco Bello. It's taken by, I think it was Archie. Finally cleared by Port Adelaide from the defensive zone. Lee, though, manages to take possession and boot it straight back in there into that pressure area. Forward battling, and so was Clayton for Port Adelaide. Just caught one around the head. That'll be 25 metres, will it? No.
He didn't really want the ball, Clayton. He's sort of looking for the shepherd, wasn't he, there at one stage? I think Healy wanted to get hold of it, but just couldn't get to it. That's how he interfered.
Didak got hold of the ball, then he fed it off to Tregenza. Gave Gowans a little bit of a push and a shove in the back plate. Keep an eye on that one. Eventually, though, Central's again cleared the ball Hopwood, and he clears it to Gowans, who was just involved in that tete-a-tete with Tregenza. And he'll go back and steady the play. He's really got nothing to kick to at the moment. He's just having a glance around. Finally coming on the lead was his brother. Falls over the ball, under pressure, gets the free kick for in the back. Umpire Tim Pfeiffer comes in. He's in his 200th, officiating in his 200th SANFL game.
Yeah, the Central Districts are just outclassing Port Adelaide at this stage. They've got the numbers at the fall of ball everywhere around the ground, and Port Adelaide just can't generate anything at all across their half-forward line.
It's just the ferocity of the Bulldogs. They're making a change at this stage of the game. Scotty Lee, well, the veteran, has a well-deserved break on the bench with Daniel Stevens. Now, danger man Stevens comes on. It's a ball. It's half-forward for the Bulldogs. It's going to be cleared by Julian Waite. Steps around McGowan. Then unleashes with the bomb again. Again, it's just no vision. Their option, the decision-making this afternoon's been terrible. They change direction through the Bulldogs. They go out wide. Steinlager can bring the ball up towards. He's got to play loose by himself and Joey Hicks. That's the direction he goes. He's got running players everywhere around him. What does he decide to do? He bombs it up towards the top of the square. Marco Bello will contest this against one of the tallest men out there in Spinagle. Well, Spinagle hits the ground, gives it off. The running players from the fence gives across to Clayton. Umpire has to call play on. There was no interference there. Great work by the Bulldogs again. Coming up with the football. Back there is Hopwood. He'll come inside to McGowan. McGowan just spots the kick with the left leg up forward and finds James Gowans.
12 possessions now to McGowan. He's having a day out, but so is this lad in Gowans. Decides to go long.
And the Gowans brothers actually already racked up 30-odd possessions between them. And Port Adelaide, desperate in defence, managing to clear the ball. That was Archie. And down to the wing again, another high ball, another ball punched to the front, and another ball for a Gowans brother as they clear a chain of hand passes. Finally finishing with Hamblin. He's run down, loses possession, Bello gets it. Now it's Gowans again, they're everywhere. Gets it up into the square. Contest finally forward. Oh, did he move and kick that? It doesn't matter, it's still a goal. And Central's 11 goals, 672. And that's a first for Ford.
Chris Gowans there, run into trouble. Hamlin wanted to kick at the goal, just run out of room. Came to Bello, ball fell free. And then that's the important kick right there from Chris Gowans. Just got it into the hot spot. Again, the contest, Ford made the effort. He's the one that got to the fall of the ball. Luck's of fortune, it was there to put the slipper on, and he was very pleased to take the goal.
Oh, I know, Mog the dog behind us here. He'd be looking at the stats book right now. The biggest losing margin I think we witnessed on Anzac Day going back, I think it was 2 years ago against Norwood. It was 122 points. Well, the Bulldogs, at this stage of the game, could improve on that. The Magpies at the moment, just nothing's working for them. Again, just run. They're just running from defence. The ball hasn't sat, but this time it does. The handball comes back. Couldn't be taken by Lillico. Then has time to be able to get around, and he'll spot a player by himself. He does that well. 42 is Hamlin. Chips the ball over his left shoulder. Wasn't a good option. And Magpies clear from defence.
Julian Waite hasn't got a real target to aim at either. He's got Ackland who's under pressure there, and finally it'll be Radley Moller over the ball. He just streaks back there, the ruckman. Gets the hand pass over the top. That's Damien Hicks clearing the ball. Goes across to the other side of the ground where Nathan Steinburner takes it. So they've swapped sides, but no real targets for Steinburner.
And we see Filippo, nothing's going right for Port Adelaide. He tried to put some physical pressure on Moller and it's come off second best. Doesn't look very well at all.
Eventually Steinburner takes a hand pass, tries to run around, successfully so. Gets the ball down the wing He's looking for McGowan, who leads in the race for the ball, but Bamford chips in, takes it for Port Adelaide. Away comes Tregenza. His possessions have been few today, probably only second or third, but manages to get it to Didak. Alan Didak, the youngster in the middle of the ground, near half forward, kicks inside the forward 50, and a good mark there, edging the player under the ball, and Damien Hicks. Now he's got some runners. Out on this side of the ground, he's got Gowans running for him, tucks the ball under his arm, has a run, kicks down looking for a market on the wing position. Waite gets the ball, slips a good hand pass, lovely little hand pass across to Fraser. On the lead comes Bond, drops it, back to his feet, gathers, kicks, and behind. That tells a story.
Have we seen a Magpie side in virtually a quarter and 15 minutes into the second quarter without a goal on the scoreboard? You don't see it happening too often. I think I have had it in my lifetime.
I think the scoreboard's a result of the process, as they say. But the process today for Port Adelaide is very ordinary. There is just no commitment to run. There is no commitment to put physical pressure on the people with the ball, get to the contest. Oh. But they've got half a chance now as McGuinness gets to work, takes control.
Oh, good tackle. Good tackle. Good second, third effort now by Steinberger. Matthew Slade takes the football, gives it up over the top again. Hopwood's back there, goes to the handball towards the safety of the boundary line. Has he found it? No, he's found his captain, McGowan. McGowan comes up with the ball. Well, he's looking for Hanlon, couldn't quite find his target. And Norman Allen chips in, takes it, gets it across to Julian Wade. He takes off, wants to get the ball back up towards the forward line as Hicks goes up with Filippo. Good battle going on between those two. Haven't seen much of the ball up there, but when it does come in, at least Filippo's giving some sort of contest.
You say they haven't had much of the ball for the contest up there. If you look at the inside 50s, 31-19, it just is a reflection of how the scoreboard's rolling.
And the ball thrown back into play. Ackland takes it out of the air and just turns and kicks, and another rush behind. Interesting, Michael, 15 minutes and 40 seconds for a first score in the first quarter, and it took them 13 minutes, or about 13 and a half minutes for a first score in the second quarter, and still, of course, no goals.
It is a long, dry spell. We'd have to probably cast our mind back to the 71 grand final to find a Port Adelaide team that didn't score in the first half.
When was that?
71, mate. You were just a twinkle in your mama's eye.
Another North Premiership too, I recall.
Absolutely.
It might have been a twinkle.
That one as well. But didn't cry. Here we go, Ashley. He sets it up. Filippo's there. Underneath that, the back was Tregenza. What a mark. They're taking everything. Hicks just playing with confidence. It does help when you play this game. Well, they just chip it up. They've got players loose everywhere. They're just running into space. That's McGowan. The kick's not good by him. Tries to find Danny Holm. Comes out wide now. This will run onto it. Will be Joey Hicks. Right leg. Comes up out in front. Where's McArdle? Great courage there by, I think it was Donald Cockatoo Collins. Figut's taken well by Bello, but he was able to get the handball out and over the boundary line.
Just that mark at the other end of the ground. Just Damien Hicks, he's grabbed everything. In fact, Port Adelaide, Michael, haven't been able to take a mark inside the forward 50, really.
Well, they are struggling all over the ground as we see Michael Spanigal sit down.
Just looking for something different inside. There's out on the full, kicked up forward by Danny Stevens there. But yeah, just looking for something different, I suppose, inside their forward line at the moment. And Spinagal's been taken off just to give somebody else a run now. So the ball will be kicked back into play by Port Adelaide from, again, their defensive 50. Up high, coming down hard was Ackland. Call play on by the umpire. And so McGowan chips inside 50. Gowans and Bamford battle for the ball. The ball on the ground now. Gowans not able to take possession. Port Adelaide does. Finally, it's Bond on the left leg, on the chip, coming from behind Radley Moller. Is that a mark?
And it's Ackland's down. He's hurt as well in that contest. Doesn't look good at all. Maybe a bit of...
Oh, there is a mark. Have a look at that one. Not sure where we were with the monitor, but Trent Orman-Allen has taken one of the marks of the year. Fantastic leap.
Ackland's still down.
Troy Bond will slow it up, I think, as the stretcher comes onto the ground for Ackland. But no, it's not happening. Call play on. And he comes across the face.
Yeah, Didak was running for him. Didak takes a good grab, actually, because Bello managed to close down the territory between him and Didak pretty well. Didak takes him on now, runs around him, goes long into centre half forward with his kick. Filippo couldn't make the contest in the end. It was taken by Hopwood. Chips it out, Holmes running for him. And he's got Gowans further afield. Is he going to spot him? He does. Gowans, oh, good mark actually, because Fraser made some good yards to put a bit of pressure on, but Gowans has got the ball just on the Central District side of wing. Remembering, of course, they're kicking into the breeze this quarter. We've gone 17, nearly 18 minutes into the quarter, and Central's commanding 68-point lead. Holmes got the ball. Bamford over the top of him. Holmes pops his head up long enough to give Healy a hand pass. Healy goes wide now to Ford. Ford arcs it back into the middle of the ground. Port Adelaide take possession. Feagit over the ball. Sloppy kick, but good enough to find a player in Fraser wearing the same Guernsey colour.
Look, the Port Adelaide players in the centre of the ground, there's about 4 of them just standing with hands on knees.
Hasn't cleared the 50 yet either. He's still inside 50.
Very un-Port-like. They've come right across the ground, found Vines, who was the only one to make a definitive lead.
Well, he just came on, Neil. He just came on, so he was the only loose player. Hasn't been picked up yet.
Wait underneath that ball, dropped the chest mark. Difficult one, I must say, because it was coming in with the sun in his eyes and he didn't know who was around him. So I guess another problem is the amount of talk around the place.
There's Hahn taking a rest on the bench. He was the one that allowed Ashley to come onto the ground. But Port Adelaide there, just there was an effort on the outer flank, and there was 4 or 5 just standing with their hands on knees. Ball was reversed, and not one of them made the effort to run.
Gee, I've liked Arnold's effort today. Every time he gets into a ruck contest, he tries to bring the ball down to one of his players. Well, McGuinness. Nothing's going right for the Magpies as we've seen, but there's other games around the state this afternoon, maybe a bit closer than what ours is. And we see the Double Blues leading the Eagles by 27 points at home.
That was an interesting result. That Westies up by 3 points, and out at Norwood, I think it's a prospect actually, Norwood lead by 39 points.
And Bello leading in the chase for the ball. Marco Bello will take the free kick. Looks up, nothing really on offer. He'll probably come down the line. Daniel Healy puts his hand up and says, yep, down here, that'll do. He'll be opposed to Kane Ackland, and he takes a strong grab there for Port. Shrugs off. He's obviously shrugged off that injury or whatever happened to him on the far side of the ground. He boots the ball back inside 50. And his opposing ruckman, Bradley Moller, just drops back into the space, takes the mark. Puts Joe Hicks under pressure with a bad hand pass. Bello now with the ball. Another hand pass wide, another running player, another loose player for Central District. And chip back into the middle, and away they go, as you can see. And it's on the end of it was McGowan. He chips inside 50, and at half forward he's got Danny Holm loose. Holm now waiting on the lead. He gets one, but he opts to go long instead to the goal square. And not a bad one. Oh, over the back. You wouldn't be happy if you're Port Adelaide either, because Holmes kicked his second, and that looked like they could have got a hand on it, but perhaps too worried about their opponents. The ball fell across the back, and Holmes kicks his second, and Central kicks away.
Again, the opportunity come from the run through the centre from McGowan, the Gowans boys. They really worked hard on their Port Adelaide opponents through the middle of the ground. Lead from Holm. He went back, sized up the opportunity of the vacant goal square, unloaded from about 52. Reasonable shepherd, and it's all happening for the Doggies.
12-6, 78. Just a 4 behinds to the Magpies as Moller gets his hand on the ball down to Tregenza. Couldn't take it. A good hit off the ball there came from Scotty Bamford. This gives McGuinness a bit of time, but back again was Hicks. He's now been matched up with Evans. The Bulldogs again through Matty Slay. He's kicked the ball out from defence, but I think he's gone a little bit too far. It's over the line and out of bounds on the fall. Well, Jonas, I think you can go and have an afternoon tea right now. Get the scones and jam and cream out, because this side could not lose this game from here. 74 points up at this stage of the game, and just the way they're playing, Michael, you just couldn't see them losing this.
Oh, they couldn't lose this, even if they went home now and put the mini-league out, left the mini-league out at half-time. They're really controlling every facet of the game. And again, we see the ferocity of the tackle from Lillico. Fantastic tackle.
Holding the ball?
Holding the ball, but it was caused because, look, there's 2-1. But Lillico just came out. He knew what he wanted, and he laid the tackle.
Yeah, he just went straight for the hips, didn't he? And he took Didak down, and the ball now will be kicked along the wing. He's just pointing down that way, and that's the way he comes. And he looks for Ford, who's coming out. And Moller's at the front, tapped away from Muller by his Port Adelaide opponent. Comes to Waite. Waite Oh, play stop. That was called play on for a free kick. And then they played advantage. And then having heard the whistle, Waite wasn't sure what was going on, so he's called it back.
I'm going to get on my high horse again. I think they should look at the rugby union rule. If they've whistle blows, then you stop. If there's advantage, umpire shouldn't blow the whistle.
Inside the forward 50, no mark again for Port Adelaide. Hicks over it, overruns it. Back on the ground now. In there was Bond and several other pairs of arms and legs. And somewhere in there it is, there's the ball.
They couldn't go a half without scoring a goal, could they, the Magpies?
I said it's been a long time since that's happened, but things aren't looking good. They've got a 50 entry now, brings the count to 25 to 36, but it's a worrying stat, isn't it? 25 times they've penetrated their 50-metre line, and not once have they been able to put a major on the board, as the blood rule is invoked for a couple of players by the looks. Scotty Lee comes back on, and looks like Phillippo will come off as well. And Stephen Williams goes to work on the telephone. He'd be a worried man, but there's not a lot of options for him, Mark.
No, there's not. We see Matthew Slade there, just getting a little bit of attention. Bit of blood maybe on the side, bit of a graze, maybe a sprig. And Scotty Hand comes on to replace Phillippo with the blood rule as well. So we're just waiting. Again, we see the Bulldogs have just flooded the back line, making it pretty hard, pretty congested there for the Magpies.
The ball down again. Some 35 metres out from goal for Port Adelaide. The ball comes free and Holm now for his 15th touch, just kicks the ball wide, looking as much for a Centrals player as the boundary, and he succeeds in the latter. Ball over the line.
Well, a few old boys there, isn't there? Stephen Swert now tied up with the Crows. With him alongside of him, the former captain, and Roger Gurdon.
Not many smiles though.
No, that's former full forward.
Cosm.
Exactly.
They do test us, these players, as they get out of football.
The ball now in dispute on the ground. Steinburner's over it. Still, oh gee, that's rough. Steinburner made the play over the ball, and Didak was rewarded with the free kick for Port Adelaide. Nearly to the 25-minute mark of this quarter, so Port perhaps got 3 or 4 minutes to produce a goal in the half. The ball kicked inside 50, standing by himself and taking the grab quite easily was Quinton Graham, and he releases Hopwood on the far side of the ground. A couple of bounces, chips it over the top, and I was going to say from memory that it'd be Gowans, but in fact it was McGowan, but sure enough he gives it to Gowans. Gowans now kicks up looking for Ford, gets off, shakes off a Port Adelaide opponent, but Port eventually get control of the ball again. This time it's Vines, goes across to Clayton. He kicks the ball, in fact it might have been Bamford, but he kicks the ball forward and high. Ball loose, Hahn scrabbles a kick forward, and coming back was Holm. Jeez, he's picking up some possessions now. Quickly over to Steinburner, running against Scott Lee this time. Assesses the options, kicks long on the lead. Perhaps showed a bit too much of the ball to his opponent in Donald Cockatoo Collins from Port Adelaide. He manages to scramble the ball across the line.
I've seen McArdle now on 3 or 4 occasions, Michael, give a good lead into space, and players up the field have gone to another option. I just think when you've got a full forward of his ability, you just got to give him a little bit of confidence, use the bloke, and respect the lead.
Yeah, we saw last week Central Districts really did overuse the football and ended up too wide in their forward line as the umpire lets it go. Finally goes a ball up. But I think it's the danger for this Central side now. It's just a little bit of their culture. We saw it through the centre part of the season where they got on a real roll, got a little bit cocky, and then overused the football, got a couple of losses. Last week they were coming in, they overused the football, but here's a chance for them to come back through Hamlin.
That's great voice, great look, great vision. They're just putting together McGowan's game so far. You took a McGowan and the Gowan's brothers. They've both been good. Healy's here by himself. Will it get to him? I think it will before Waite. He sensed it, he just couldn't get there in time. And this bloke here, he's got 2 on the board already, fellas. This could be his 3rd up to half-time. And he too, I mean, look at best players up to half-time. You could literally say all played well.
Well, Daniel Healy, obviously the designated kicker in that situation. Joey Hicks just giving the short pass across. Healy now, let's see how he goes. That's why he's the designated kicker. Have a look at that. 13 goals, 6 now on the board for Central District. Lovely kick from Healy, from a kick from about 45 metres. 13-6-84, plays 4 points.
Gee, we better get another box of tissues down to the OB van down there, because I know there's a girl one-eyed Magpie supporter wouldn't be enjoying this.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? But I think I just saw a couple of Bulldog supporters leave. I've only got I can only guess they've gone home to get the VCR turned on. Yes, Daniel Healy is a fantastic kick, but if you want to see this one again, Doggy supporters, you can ring the ABC and buy the video from Monday morning on.
You might want to wait for confirmation of a win, actually. We'll see. You'd certainly be enjoying the first half of ABC
Healy.
Sport. And that was Daniel Healy again, just comes out. He's been strong across half forward. 9 marks across half forward for Healy. In contrast, I guess, at the other end, Port Adelaide just unable to find a marking target.
Healy's been just a dominant forward on the ground, hasn't he?
Interesting, as he comes in after the siren. Siren's gone, Healy kicks
Pushed
long.
it, I think.
Yeah, he's pushed it for a point. Just an interesting stat there to half-time. 59 marks for the Bulldogs, plays 27 for the Magpies, and obviously the crowd, you can hear the applause as the Doggies fans get up and say, thank you very much, that was enjoyable.
Absolutely unbelievable half of football from both teams. One from the Dogs because they were so dominant, and one from the Magpies because I guess insipid is a word that comes to mind. But it was through their midfield, just the runners in home, the Gowns brothers, McGowan, that supplied the opportunity, and Healy and McArdle supplied the finish. Just a great half of football from the Bulldogs. I wonder what Stephen Williams can do to stem the tide in the second half.
Well, half-time scores here at Adelaide Oval this afternoon. A beautiful day for football, and the Bulldog supporters really are enjoying it because the Bulldogs are 13 goals 7, 85. The Magpies just on 4 behinds. I do not believe it, but you're sitting home watching this exclusively to ABC Sport. Yes, umpire Ron Beveridge holds the ball aloft to start the second half here from Adelaide Oval. The Magpies up against the Bulldogs. What a margin, 81 points. Who would believe that before the start of the game? Well, Julian White, what can he do? They need a big half. The Magpies comes through left leg, kicks it up towards, looks like Archie's gone to centre half forward. Well, he's made some changes. Coach Stephen Williams, Fraser pumps the ball up. Who's up there? Evans going backwards. Damien Hicks couldn't take it. Goes for the safety of the boundary line. Thumps the ball out in that direction and goes across. Well, we may get Michael Parsons, also Neil Cross, just to look around the ground. He's made some changes. I think he needed to as well.
I can tell you that Paul Northeast is keeping close attention on Chris Gowans, and that obviously will be, considering the number of possessions that the Gowans boys have had between them, I'm not surprised they might stick somebody on one of them at least.
Yeah, I think it was something that Stephen Williams had to do, is put some taggers out there, close the game down a little bit. It also looks like Matthew Ashley, or it's Clayton it is, that's picking up the other Gowans brothers, so some defensive tactics coming in from Stephen Williams.
And yet Central District break out of defence, taking one bounce and now another as they kick the ball well into attack. Coming from behind was McArdle, and also Ford was there. Kicked off the ground by Port. I think that was Orman Allen. He got it towards the line. Eventually it's over the line. Daniel Stevens leading in the chase for the ball. Out of bounds.
A couple of other position change. Looks like Trent Orman Allen is going to line up on McArdle at fullback. He'll be able to jump with the high leaping Sam McArdle, and Sean Burgoyne is controlling the centre half back spot. So throwing the team around in an effort to get them going.
And I think it might be just to consolidate things for a start. Let's get a few possessions and at least get a couple of goals on the board for Port Adelaide. Bit of a swinging arm in there, so a bit of aggression there from Port Adelaide. An indication perhaps of what we might see in this quarter from the Magpies. I don't think Stephen Williams, the coach, would have been too impressed with their first half. Spinagle leads for the ball, comes to ground. I think that was Gowans who tried to slip out a hand pass. It's in dispute, and Port Adelaide managed to eventually come away with it. That's Fraser off the left leg, kicks wide home, good grab, and plays on the 50, kicks inside 50, home, good long kick. McArdle got a good share of that ball, but the umpire didn't think so. Not enough for a mark anyway. The ball comes wide. Trent Orman Allen has it. Running for him is Tregenza on the wing. Tregenza slows, stops, hand passes over the top. McGuinness on the right foot, kicks into centre half forward. Archie works his way to the ball, but Ackland comes over the back, takes it. Umpire says that wasn't a mark. Interesting decision.
Yes, had a lot of the ball, but coming from behind, it's that age-old philosophy, isn't it? Man in front, first grab, and I think that was a pretty good decision from the umpire. Ackland went to ground. We'll have a restart with the ball up.
To the ruckman again. Ackland cops one across the face. Good knockdown again. That came from Radley Moller. The kick goes up forward again for the Bulldogs. Goes over the top. Big Spinagle comes out. Somehow got boot the ball, but great coach again, Joey Hicks. He's played a game and a half so far. Gives it back. Well, the Bulldogs clear from the fence. Can Ford get there? In fact, it's Lillico. It's Ford. Conan Ford held without the ball. The umpires missed that. They followed the football. Fraser comes up with a drops of football as he's tackled. Again, Matty Slade's there. Couldn't take it. Mark Clayton does. Goes upfield. Nathan Steinberg, a one-on-one here with Ashley. It's Bamford. Knocks the ball out. Which way will he go? Graham. Quinton Graham handballs over the top. Finds to find Gowans. He does. Knocks it up to Steinberg. Back to Lillico. Lillico now needs to get the ball to boot quickly. He does that. Then we need a contest up forward. Good spoil from behind. But it's come down to Gowans. Takes the bump. Then plays on. The umpire indicates a free kick will go against Christopher Gowans for using, I think it was the elbow or the forearm, a little bit too high on Burgoyne.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate, I would have thought. Gowans just run out of decision-making room, rode the bump. The umpire said that he had the arm raised and he's awarded the free kick to Burgoyne in the nice green slippers today.
Very unfortunate that for Centrals, because Bello looked to go on and kick it through the big ones for another goal, but wasn't to be. Port Adelaide instead take the ball forward. This is Hicks though, intercepting. Easy mark, hands off to Hopwood. Now to Healy, off the left leg, long and direct into centre half forward. He's looking for McArdle from behind, as you suggested earlier. Ormond Allen able to out-jump him and punches the ball towards the line, keeps on his feet, eventually takes it across the line. So good defensive work there from Trent Ormond Allen. The Magpies, though, trail by 81 points, and we've travelled 5 minutes in the third term.
As we see Sam Philippou, Scooter Hahn, and it looked like Paul Vines sitting on the bench.
McGowan working at the base of the pack, got it out to Slade. Slade now, quick, round the corner, got it back to McGowan, off the left leg, chip band, thank you very much. Another mark to Central District inside their 50, and they'll line up. That was Murray Hamlin has taken it, and he'll line up from, what, about 40 metres out. Just a slow approach, and in he comes. Not a very difficult shot, you wouldn't think, and arcs it away to the right, does he? Wait on the umpire, I think it's a behind. It is. So we're underway with a score for Central District. They moved to 13-8-86, and Port Adelaide just the 4 points so far.
Ormond Allen brings the ball back in from the kick out, finds Fraser.
He's been a trier for them today. Probably one of the only players that have tried to put some physical aggression into their game.
Spinagle should take this. He's in the front position, just came across, gives the handball off quickly to McGuinness. They're going to build something here. The Magpies is up forward. Out hard was Evans. Good second effort by Evans. Bamford's there as well. Gives the handball across to Archie. Scotty Lee's got 2 to contend with. In fact, it's Joey Hicks. I just looked at the top of the head. They look very similar, those two players. And Michael, there's other games this afternoon. We've got the Eagles up against the Double Blues. An important game, but the Eagles have come back. They lead by 26 points.
Glenelg holding out West by 3 points. That's an important game for Glenelg. And Norwood 76 points in front of the Roosters.
Danny Holm takes possession but loses it, and Port Adelaide get a shot on goal.
Yes!
And wait for it, a goal.
Yes! And that's the first for Julian Waite.
Not very hard to sum up that one, was it, Julian Waite? The first for Port Adelaide, and we've 7 minutes into the third term. There you go.
Julian Waite, can you believe it, putting Port Adelaide's first goal on the board 4.5 minutes in, or 7 minutes into the third quarter. But they really have, they've come out with a little bit more passion. We saw them running off their half-back line a couple of times. You could look down at the ground and see Port Adelaide with greater numbers at the ball. Stephen Williams thrown their side around, guide some defensive taggers through the midfield, and hopefully get some passion back into the running effort and really get them started to move forward. But they've got a long road back, still trailing by 76 points.
Radley Moller against Spinagle, down to Fraser again, around his body, up forward. Well, Graham, he too has been good this afternoon, going over the top of the football. I think it was Matthew Slade. Yes, it was. Just wait again. Which is Shea Cockatoo Collins.
Big Brosnan, he's been sadly missed out there today, centre half forward. He'll patrol that area during the final series for Port Adelaide, and he'll add some strength.
Well, Spinagle's come out trying a bit harder in the second half. He's giving a contest. And the ball's in his area, but we just wait. We've played 8.5 minutes. 86 plays 10, a 76-point margin still favouring the Bulldogs. As again, we'll wait for the umpire to put the leather down. He bounces it. Moller tries to find where his Spinagle was, but Hanlon cleans up the football, goes out wide with a kick. It should go out over the boundary line. It does. So things are slowing down in this third quarter. And really, the Magpies need to get something happening.
Yeah, you see Murray Hamlin on screen. He's been a serviceable player after a great game last week. But Moller in ruck, he's been pretty good today, both around the ground with his marking and also in the tap-outs.
Spinagle had the better of it there, got it to Waite. He gets it up towards the Port Adelaide goals, but again, able to clear it. That was Graham for Centrals. Cleared it into space, not necessarily to a player. Ormond Allen takes it for Port. Now to Tregenza, chips 15 metres across to McGuinness. McGuinness goes inside half forward. A little bit of a push and a shove there from Hopwood. The ball came to ground, strong tackle, and they'll clear again through Quinton Graham, Central District, and out wide. That would have to be a Gowans.
Yes.
Who else has touched the ball running down the wing but the Gowans or McGowan? He kicks it inside the 50, looking for a big grab. They haven't got one, but roving it. I think it's Bello over the ball. It is. Tried to get the kick, couldn't. Busting through. Strong stuff from Fegert. Gets the ball wide. He's got a couple of Port players running by themselves, but can they get there? No. Bond made the effort, but you really hate that, don't you? You run 25 metres, only to see the ball wobble across the line by about an inch.
Port Adelaide supporters, they're still here, they're still rooting for their team, but they've got a lot of cheering to do before they get back in the competition.
Ford contests this mark of this ruck for the Bulldogs. Comes down Hamlin. And Leaders knock it back over the line once again. But Michael, you just sense at the moment things are just, I mean, they are just dropped their level, I believe. The Bulldogs, and what we saw in that first half.
There's no doubt that the intensity that the Bulldogs had at the start of the game isn't there at the start of the second half, and that might allow Port Adelaide to get some momentum going. And here's Fraser out along the wing again.
Gets it forward. Hicks manages to get it down to ground. Looking for the boundary line, but didn't get there was Lilico. Eventually Port though, bring it forward. That's Didak. That's a good grab. He'll turn on his left leg, gives a hand pass off. Ooh, gets it back. He was lucky there. Arches the back into goal. Didak, another goal for Port. Well, eventually he got there. He was perhaps a bit lucky, but he did get a goal, and Port 2-4-16 now. Just trailed by that 70 points. Central's 13-8-86.
Yeah, the young 17-year-old Didak, he's been one of the triers for Port Adelaide today. You see him take it on. He's quick of foot, and he's a natural left footer. He was one took the mark, gave the handball, and then continued to run. Got the ball back. And that was a pretty good effort. So Port Adelaide, a couple of goals on the board now. The momentum for them starting to build. If they can just get a couple more on the board, they might make a competition of this.
And as soon as the momentum changes a bit, they bring Damien Arnold back on the ground. Gowans gets the tap. Quick hand pass across to Ricky McGowan. Another one goes across to Healy on the right leg. You won't see that too often. Bangs it forward, out of bounds. So immediately they were in trouble. Moller there comes off. Damien Arnold goes into the ruck, and Centrals go forward again.
Yes, Damien Arnold's been a good player for a number of years for Central Districts. Probably just a little bit physically stronger than Moller. And also Spinagle has started reasonably well in this third quarter.
Fegert over the top. Good tackle there by Danny Holm. Trying to break clear was McGuinness. Coming up with the football is Fegert. He takes off running hard, then lays the football out wide. The spoil from behind was good. That come from Hopwood. He butters up for the second effort, then brings the ball back in. And cutting it off intelligently there was McGuinness. under a bit of pressure. The kick up and coming out this time playing in front was Archie across to Didak. Didak left leg heads up towards Evans. What can Evans do? He needs to get control of the football. It bounces one way then the other. Well, the Bullies again, they're behind. Gives the handball over the top to Steinburner. Steinburner takes it one way and the other. That was Hopwood again. The kick up, couldn't quite find his target. Again, the Magpies have the numbers. The chip forward again. The kick wasn't placed well, and the Bulldogs from defence should clear. They come across the other side. Hicks had a bit of time of his side. Goes up towards Rick McGowan. Regenza should take him and stand the mark, and Cummins board to McGowan's. In fact, it's Gowan's. The kick from McGowan. McGowan heads up. McArdle will jump at this with Orman Allen. Neither player could take it. Healy's there, takes the ball going to ground. Couldn't get the handball out. Danny Holm does. He cleans up. McGowan shifts it over the top back to McArdle. At the back was Burgoyne. Goes over the top looking for Donald Cockatoo Collins. He'll be supported by McGuinness. Great chase down there from behind from Marco Bello. Forces the turnover. The ball goes out over the boundary line.
But you just feel the intensity of the game's dropped. Port Adelaide are starting to get back in the game. I think they're going to make a competition of it at least in this second half.
Yes, I don't think the message from the rooms would have been let's just go through the motions. Central District though breaking through half forward and just a behind. I don't think it was Healy, but Hamblin it was. Breaking through half forward and just on the right leg, out to the right. So 87 plays 16 and Trent Orman Allen's going to take the kick in. There's a Magpie not looking very fierce. Very much like the team today. Unheard of, really. Kick comes in, very good, very long, and Northeast has it on the far side of the ground. Casts his eyes into the sun, kicks it high, and a good grab from Arnold. It's just the way the game's been going for Centrals. He holds off his opponent, kicks it back into the middle of the ground, and they're away and running. Joey Hicks takes it. A chip inside half forward, and arriving late was McGuinness to remonstrate with Gowans, who took the mark, and that's Chris Gowans. Not much on offer inside half forward.
A bit more run from Port Adelaide as they flooded back into the back lines then.
So his 20th possession, Gowans. Kicks it up long, Holm will fly. No, stays down, eventually through for a behind. So a little bit of stalemate between the sides at the moment, and the reason that Gowans there is flexing the shoulder. He got slung before in a big tackle and really got crunched into the ground. He's lucky that it wasn't the pitch in the middle of the ground, rather a little bit softer out in the half forward line.
The Central Districts team, they put their zone defence up again, and it really has shut down the options. Orman Allen finally picks out the short option in Burgoyne.
Burgoyne comes wider still, across to Northeast. Northeast, that awkward kicking style is maybe letting down. I think it has. He kicked the ball out of bounds on the full, right in front of the Central District coach's box.
Northeast having a dirty day. I think that's his second kick. He spent some time on the bench as well.
See Phillippo waiting to come on. The ball comes in board. 8 running through is Daniel Stevens. Goes wide with a kick looking for McArdle again. And that's been a good matchup since half-time as Orman Allen on McArdle. You see Kane Ackland just has a bit of a rest, a bit of a breather. Phillippo comes on, goes straight back to full forward. So, yeah, we're 16.5-minute mark there, Neil. Really, the Bulldogs yet to kick a goal in this third quarter.
Well, nothing much happening at all, really, is there? When you look at it, they've added 2 goals, Port Adelaide. In Centrals, they've added 3 points. We've travelled halfway through the third term. Ball back into play, forward opposed to Spinagle. The ball belted away by the Port player. On the ground and almost getting the ball out successfully was Lillicoat, who tries again and dispossessed again. And finally it's Slade, slings the ball onto his foot and gets it inside half forward for Centrals. Holm, he's been good, working in a confined space there. Eventually it got the better of him, or at least Port Adelaide did, and they carry it away. Troy Bond now on the end of the hand passes. Dodges, weaves.
Bello again.
Yeah, and he just got the kick away, but under pressure, and the umpire will call that holding, and Steinburner takes the free kick.
Fantastic chase from Marco Bello. Second time he's done that, coming out of the full forward line. he caused the turnover then.
Joe, on the far side of the ground, I was just about to call Hicks, and I'm thinking, no, he's at half back, but he's in the forward line at the moment, and he gets the ball back to Ricky McGowan. Another stat for him. Handball back inside to Lillico, and now it's with Steinburner again, outside 50, just the chip across the top of the 50, and that comes to Stevens, unloads. Oh, you're not going to believe that. Stevens' first goal. A lovely long kick, and just a reminder, the breeze that is here is favouring the right of screen as Central kicked their 14th goal.
Yeah, Daniel Stevens, he's kicked a few goals for Central Districts this year, and he knew what he was going to do before he took possession of that ball. He just took the ball 2 steps, unloaded from right on the 50-metre line, and that was a wonderful kick. He's just coming onto the ground at half-time, and that was his 7th possession, so he's right into the thick of things straight away. And McArdle, he's been quiet since coming back on in the second half, and he's sat down for a little rest.
Dragenza taps it one way, then tries to get Boots the ball. Lillico was in there, great hands in tight. Ends up now with Marco Bello. Bello, the high ball up forward. Where's the marking strength? Pushed under the football was Danny Holm by Northeast. Umpire pays the mark and calls play on as Northeast takes off. Goes out wide towards Julian Waite. Waite comes up down the line, and a great mark out in front from Bond in front of Steinburner, and he's done. He looks towards the bench.
Looked a bit innocuous, but maybe an ankle or something there.
To wait and see. So Bond, the kick wasn't good. He has done something as he goes to the ground. It's not good. He's been trying to get back in the Magpies side. Comes up. Good work by Lillico. Just waited till he heard the voice from Healy. Healy gives the ball inside of Scotty Lead. He needs some strength to be shown here. Now goes out wide with the soccer off the ground for the boundary line and finds him. As we see Dragenza coming off for a rest and Paul Vines coming on for a run. And well, Bond.
I would guess hamstring, the way he dived for that ball. He has had some problems with his back and hamstrings, and he just knows that he's in trouble. As soon as he goes down, you'll see him look towards the bench, put his hand up, said, I can't play anymore today.
Meanwhile, the ball back into play and all tied up. I don't think it's coming out of that little group of players. The umpire certainly didn't think so. He's called for a bounce. Just a score from the AFL, and the Bulldogs have managed to break Carlton's winning streak. If you are interested, the Bulldogs have gone home by 3 points to break Carlton's winning streak in Melbourne. Back here, the Bulldogs are on a streak, and they're leading Port Adelaide easily. A huge long hand pass comes out there for Holm. Holm takes the ball, stutters forward, finally gets a hand pass out the back. Gathering it is Healy. He's got another runner for him, and it's Bello. Bello inside 50, goes to Blaze, decides to chip. And on the end of it was Danny Stevens, who'll line up for his 2nd goal.
Just see Bond heading to the bench there. He's obviously hurt himself quite badly. Hands on head, very disconsolate. But Daniel Stevens, he's taken this mark. He has come on in this 3rd quarter and really has been a dominant feature of their forward line.
In comes Stevens with the kick. We'll wait for the reaction of the crowd. The flags are flying behind the goal. So Mother Major, that's his 2nd for the quarter. And his 2nd for the afternoon. The 15th for the Bulldogs. They're 15-10. They've cracked the ton. And the Magpies, well, still on 2 goals for 16.
There's Danny Stevens, sat the bench the whole of the first half, has come on 5 marks, 5 kicks, 3 handballs and 2 goals in 20 minutes of football. That's a dominant performance, isn't it? And
oh yeah, definitely a good performance by Stevens. As I said, 100, plays 16. Unbelievably low score for the Magpies. Over the top was Arnold again. He's made the difference since being moved back in there. Great pickup by Gowans, and the kick was good. Wasn't anticipated up forward there by Stevens. It was by Clayton. He too being quiet this afternoon. Kick up high. Spinagle and also Arnold. Spinagle had enough of that for the umpire to pay the mark. He does so. Bamford just down the line. Figure will give support to Fraser. He does that with the Shepherd. Vines comes up with it, gives it back to Bamford. Bamford straightens the body, looks inboard and finds Paul Northeast. He needs to go over the top with the handball, not the kick, but doesn't take my advice. Didak just needs, he's got space. Undecisive, but then spots the player by himself. Fraser's run down, gave the option, and a good kick there by Didak. Finds the player and Fraser.
Yeah, good vision, good skills, wasn't it? He's on his right side, he's a natural left footer. And found Fraser, Darren Fraser, as you see, probably actually one of Port's better performed players. Although Bond, who's now on the bench, Troy Bond, had some 11 possessions to half-time. Fraser comes in and, well, the picture tells 1,000 words as usual. And another behind for Port Adelaide. Central District now 15-10-100 and Port a miserable 2-5-17. And the ball going to be returned to play by the Bulldogs.
Yeah, disappointing kick there from Fraser. They really do need to get some goals on the board and some respectability into the score as the ball comes back in to Steinburner.
Steinburner on the far side of the ground. 23 minutes or so into this quarter, so well into time on now. Not many goals, so it'll probably be a short quarter as the Bulldogs run it out. It's a poor skill error. Goes over the top of Arnold, but he does well to hold it in there. As Archie got it out, eventually Spinagle, and Port Adelaide outside 50 but in control of the ball. Vines breaks free. He'll move around, look for his right leg, let run, and follows Darren Fraser in missing to the left. So another behind on the board, 2-6 now for Port Adelaide. Plays 15-10-100 for the Central District Bulldogs.
When it's going wrong, it goes really wrong, doesn't it? A couple of easy opportunities there for Port Adelaide, and they really didn't get the result that they needed.
Just a quick check around the grounds. Sturton the Eagles now by 27 points, so they've turned that match around well. Glenelg have drifted away from Westies. Westies leading by 16, and Norwood now well in control over North Adelaide, as you'd expect. Meanwhile here, Central District well in control as they take the ball forward. Holm and North East contest the ball. Through come Gowans, he couldn't take possession. Holm forces himself forward. Bello now, the quick hand pass up into the path of Holm, eventually out of bounds. Port Adelaide managed to stem the tide there for just a moment.
Just see there Radley Muller just waiting to come on, giving Damien Arnold a rest, and a well-deserved rest. He came on when the Magpies had kicked or opened the third quarter of the two majors and just made a bit of a difference with the way that he just goes about business as Damien Arnold. One of the better players for the Bulldogs this afternoon. It's going to be very hard at the end of the day, Michael, to pick, I believe, the best three. No doubt they'll all be Bulldogs.
There's no doubt about that at all. There's just an array of them. McGowan and the Gowans brothers and Holm probably stand out to this point in time.
And Stevens comes up with the football again. Left leg goes high. This may be a bit too wide. Was a touch before it went over the line? I don't think it was. So the Magpies will receive this free kick. It will come to Paul Northeast. He looks for his options. There's not much out there at the moment. Goes up high. Good commitment from behind. Come from Murray Hamlin again. Try to get the ball down. You just sense there, I mean, Clayton back in hard, but Hamlin just, again, had eyes for the football only.
Yeah, Clayton, a very courageous player. Took the crunch there, but he's pulled himself back together and he's ready to get back into the fray.
Knocked down. Again, the smother off the boot. Coming through hard there was Bamford. Coming through even harder was Hamlin. Again, he just knocks the ball up, gives it across to Bello. He just needs the ball to sit. He does. Gives the handball back inside. Hasn't gone far enough. It comes up to Donald Cockatoo Connells. The kick wasn't good by Donald, and it's out of bounds over the boundary line once again.
Yeah, Cockatoo Collins hasn't been too bad today. He's competed hard in this half-back and full-back area, but the ball's been down there a lot and he's been under a lot of pressure.
And among that group of people you just saw there, Chris Grant, the General Manager of the Central District Football Club. Not exactly a pleased expression on the face, but I'm sure it'll get better as we get closer to the end of the match. Holm takes possession on the left leg, squares it into the middle. Fegert does well, just manages to take the ball away from forward. Fegert crashes into Holm. Whoops, I'm not going any further. And umpire Tim Pfeiffer, I think it is, rushes in and says, look, we'll bounce that, hey? But fair tackle, taking him front on.
That is a classic Bulldog-like tackle, isn't it? Danny Holm, Fegert just getting up and said, what was that express train I just met? He's a big solid lad, is Fegert, but Danny Holm just took him front on
and buried into the Adelaide Oval turf.
So the ball down and in congestion again. No side able to get a handle on the ball. Eventually it's paddled out. McGowan, he's got to have some sort of problem today because nobody wants to go near him. Central District in control again. Bad hand pass, loose. It falls their way though. It's been falling their way all day. Eventually it comes to Gowans. He chips the ball back inside 50. The mark, oh no, it's been spilled. Eventually it comes to Holm. This will be a goal, surely. Roosts it, but no, touched.
Oh, I think Paul Northeast, Spinaga was just talking about the touch on the football, but Paul Northeast, probably a little bit dirty that he wasn't paid the mark there unless there was something else going on. But Danny Holm, you can see him, just tries to go over the top. And it was touched because as soon as it was done, Cockatoo Collins was calling for the touch signal.
So it's wait now. Cockatoo Collins to bring the ball back in. They've rotated their backman this afternoon between those players. It's kicked back in. It's a high ball. Slade goes for the mark. One of the smallest players out. He nearly took it. Good smother again. They're doing well in this quarter as far as smothers the Bulldogs. Comes down again. Bamford. As we hear the three-quarter time siren. Just the Magpies at the moment. Well, Michael, we just see there some happy supporters, whether they're Magpies or Bulldogs. No doubt they'll be Bulldog supporters. But a better effort by the Magpies. 2 goals to them and two goals really. Actually, no, yeah, 2 goals both coming from Stevens in that third quarter.
Absolutely. Changed the side around at half-time. Came out with some defensive tactics on the Gowans brothers, who'd been so dominant through this, the first half. Northeast took Chris, I think it was. James was tightened up on as well. That paid some dividends. They got a score on the board, and the intensity of the Bulldogs just floated for a little while. But towards the end of that quarter, you really could feel that the Bulldogs were getting back in control, starting to run and starting to pepper the goals. So the score at three-quarter time, we see Port Adelaide still struggling. 2 goals, 6-18. Trails Central Districts 15-11, 101.
We've seen it before. The Magpies are capable of kicking, 10, 11 goals in a quarter. That won't be enough this afternoon. The Bulldogs really have got this game in the bag. But the Bulldogs, on the other hand, fellas, they just need to be able to really kick into gear again to show some form of what they showed in that first half. And it will start with Radley Muller. He takes the ball out of the air, looks to give support, now gets a short kick up. McGowan should run onto this. It bounces a bit high for him, but still able to take it. Gives it across to Murray Hamlin. It needs to sit for Hamlin. It does also for him. He brings the ball back. It's a high ball. Matty Slade's there. Gowans is there. Lee took a good mark, but couldn't quite finish it off. The quick kick by the Iceman. Bounces the ball back. It sits for Muller. The handball comes as long and strong across 45 as Hopwood. Hopwood turns, looks up forward, going back hard as Spinaga with the pack, but a great mark taken.
Danny Stevens.
It's Stevens again. Kicked 2 in that third quarter, but that was a great mark with Northeast on the shoulder and Spinaga coming back hard.
That's a fantastic mark, isn't it? Danny Stevens, we just mentioned, he sat out the first half on the bench, and then he's come on in the third quarter. Look at those stats, 6 goals, 7 kicks, and he's lining up for his third goal in the opening minute of the last quarter.
Stevens walks in. The distance won't be a problem. He controls the kick beautifully. It's the first major of the last quarter. It goes to Stevens. He's got his third, and that's the Bulldogs' 16th.
Danny Stevens has really been a contributor for Central Districts this year. That's his 31st goal for the season, and he really does give him that third goal-kicking option. Kind of forward been a little bit disappointing over the last couple of weeks, but Stevens in this last half or last quarter and a bit has really stepped up, and he's supplying some scoring power. But just look at the pressure. Just good enough to keep his eyes on the ball, wraps it up, and he's gone back and completed a very good goal.
It's opportunistic half-forward defined, isn't it? Come onto the ground and produce that sort of performance. So ball back in the middle. Waite gets his foot to the ball, although it's half smothered, and eventually comes to skirting around. There was Vines. Vines puts it inside 50 for Port Adelaide. Over the back. First to the ball will be Hicks. Oh, goes for the rush behind. Hasn't quite made it that far, or has he just got it through?
Always the heart flutters, isn't it? You're a little bit too far away from the goal to go the rush option. You choose it anyway, and then the ball gets too slow too early.
Could have gone the Ackland option earlier in the day for Port Adelaide, just kick it through.
Absolutely. It was Burgoyne putting the pressure on to get his toe on the ball. Failed to do so.
So the ball back into play, Central District. Their second kick out of defence and out of bounds, I think it's been called. Yes, just out of bounds. There's a hand pass came across there, but it's out of bounds. And just have a look at that bench. It doesn't look all that pleasant, does it? There's nothing wrong, from what I understand, with Simon Tregenza, and except that he's lacking in possessions, just 9 for the day. Of course, as we know, Troy Bondy's done a hamstring, and again, the picture tells 1,000 stories there. It looked like a pretty bad hamstring.
Yes, you'd wonder about his availability for the rest of the year. That Geister sitting there all wrapped up. Again, I believe he's done a groin from early in the day. He has taken very little part in this game today.
Archie takes the ruck duties. Gets it down to McGuinness. McGuinness around his body. It's a high ball. Hopwood sits underneath it, but a great mark has been paid. You can't mark your own kick, can you?
I don't know.
Is that a possibility? I haven't seen it before.
Well, he did.
He has.
Was it Archie kick it?
Yeah. No. Archie took the ruck duty. That's right.
Okay.
Knocked it down to McGuinness. McGuinness put the ball up high.
just
So Archie's run down.
That's just a fabulous mark, isn't it? Just running back into a pack of players. Commitment for the ball. He's taken it. Corey Archie, a quality fullback, has a chance to put a score on the board.
Well, Archie, the left leg, puts it on its way. He's yet to kick a goal
Kick
in
like
his
a batsman.
senior football after his 17 games. And I think he's just missed that one. He has, so behind.
Yes, the Port Adelaide cheer squad haven't had much work to do today, but if we have another look at this great mark. That's fantastic from Corey Archie.
Port Adelaide's just gone one-on-one at the kick-out. They've just decided forget the zones, forget all the other options, and sure enough, Gowans has got himself free. And a little bit late there over the top, Matthew Ashley, but Gowans will pick himself up. He'll be quite happy. Just gives a little hand pass off, and away goes the running Hicks off the left leg, comes wide, comes to the grandstand side. Slade wasn't able to control the ball. Bamford was, takes it. Didak tries to dodge. Eventually got boot to ball, only scrubbed it forward though. And ball on the ground. The numbers, as they have for most of the day, are with Centrals. And they chip it wide, and again, Chris Gowans. Gee whiz, they get through some work. I mean, we must be calling the wrong bloke or something, because Gowans keeps on getting the ball, either Chris or his brother James. Eventually it gets forward, and Ford runs onto it, chips it into centre half forward, almost a one-hander to McArdle. To the benefit and the fall comes northeast. His kick goes forward to Fraser. He's marked it. Goes long. And Central's forced the ball forward again. But I think it's Ashley who's ended with it for Port. And is it a belated? No, it's not. It's another behind. So they're just chipping away, aren't they? That's about all you can do if you're Port Adelaide in this situation.
They really have got a roadblock at centre half forward. Corey Archie's moved there in this second half. He's supplying a contest, but they really are missing Brosnan and maybe Smith as well at full forward, just giving them an alleyway to goal. But it's Central Districts now starting to control the play again.
Lilico from the wing puts it up. Pushed underneath the ball there was McArdle. He might have a chance now to clean up for that. He just sockers the ball up towards Stevens. Stevens needs support. He's around his body. He goes across the face of goals. And it's out of bounds to be thrown in. We see players being worked on there. The Bulldogs player. Scotty Lee's come back on. Matthew Slade's come off for a rest. Is that the big fella? I think might be Arnold. Slade, is
just
it?
getting his legs worked on there.
He's not that big then, Matthew Slade.
I was going to say, a bit of difference in size.
Well, the Magpies will clear from defence here. Oh, lucky kick. Has just somehow got into Fraser's hands. Ends up now with Ashley. Ashley pumps the ball up. Pushed underneath it again was Graham. Archie needs some pace here. He's got Steinburner. Won't catch him. He takes off. Kicks the ball out high towards Moller. Moller's got players everywhere. He wishes to use them. He'll go in short to McGowan. The kick, will it carry? It does. Diving forward and taking a good chest mark was Rick McGowan. Now crowded forward line.
He's been an unregistered dog today, hasn't he? Fair income, look at that. Just racked up those possessions. This is number 34.
Already, we've only played 7 minutes and a half in this last quarter, but the ball's knocked out. Northeast just going for the disciplined safety of the boundary line. And there's a couple of other games being played this afternoon. We see at Adelaide Oval, the Eagles, well, they've just kicked out to a 37-point margin.
Westies, that's the game of the round. It looks like they lead Glenelg by 7 points. And the mighty Roosters aren't crowing, are they? 79 points they trail Norwood by.
What that does do, though, that 79-point margin puts Norwood back in the chase for a berth in the top 3, because they'll be closer now to Port Adelaide. Crunch, and that was Waite who came across on Gowans. It was the only way Chris Gowans was only going to get stopped today, and sure enough, they've stopped him, but James Gowans bobs up on the other side of the ground and takes a mark. Yes, a little high.
They play their football very similar, don't they? They look the same, they play the same, and today they got the same stats, 22 touches apiece.
And in he comes, lines it up, and he's happy. Hand raised, and there he is. And maybe a signal not to his own fans. I think that might have been a signal to some Port fans over there.
And just waving to his mother in the crowd, I would have thought. But the Gowans boys, they have been dominant through the midfield, along with Ricky McGowan. That's been the engine room that got them going, probably along with Daniel Holm early. They've just been tough at the ball. They've racked up the possessions, and they've got the skills to back it all up, haven't they? They've been some fantastic additions to this Central District side this year.
He indicated to the crowd it was only 2 goals, but that's his 3rd. He's had a good afternoon, as we heard. Well, it's down again. Moller will go against Benagle again. The bounce is good. Up early, was takes it out of the air, was Moller. The kick again by Waite. Didn't cover any area. Comes out wide. Danny Holm can run with this. He stops, spots the player he wishes to use. He does, and Hamlin will get around Vines. Good smother by Vines. And picks the crumbs up and heads down the line towards Burgoyne. Burgoyne's got the player and Hicks chasing him. Decides to straighten the body up and come back inside. Then props it up high, looking for a player. And Archie's up. Couldn't take it. Comes to the ground again. Back there. Well, he has to, for the best backman of the afternoon award, would have to go to Hicks. He's let nothing go past him and grabbed some good marks as well. Well, they're interchanging, just sharing the ball around again with the Bulldogs player. There's nothing up forward. So again, we see Stevens just heads for the boundary line. Back there is Fegert. Comes back over the top to Fraser. Fraser needs to get around forward. He does that pretty easily. Donald Cockatoo Collins, the kick's not good. Really gave his forwards no options at all, but here we go. It's a bit of luck here. It's bounced over Graham's head, comes up with Archie, just props the ball, sits it up, goes over the top, will pick up his own crumbs, working back hard there is Steinburner. Just chips it out in front once again, then kicks the ball out wide for the safety of the boundary line. Again, the discipline of the Bulldogs back line finds it.
Steinburner's fitted in quite well again back there, hasn't he? Looks 17 kicks, 5 handballs. He really has been a good player, but an interesting option from Corey Archie. Running into the open goal, I think he just got a little bit close to the Central District's defender and tried to just chip it to himself over the top.
I think you might see some of that tonight in the Bledisloe Cup, Australia v New Zealand, just the chip over the top and try and catch the defence napping. Yeah, haven't seen too much of that before, have we?
Absolutely not, but I'm looking forward to that game on the telly tonight. Don't mind a little bit of the rugby union.
Won't mention too much, it's on an opposition channel, but as it comes back, Central's in control of this match. They come out of defence and they go long to the wing, and that's another good grab. Healy, who's taken plenty of them today, and well, the umpire wasn't impressed, Tim Pfeiffer, with the little bit of attention from Paul Evans, who, by the way, is in defence. So there's a move. Evans has gone down onto Healy.
We'll go close to kicking this. His players jump down to a Spinagle, roving the ball off the front of the pack there, and then gives the handball across. Hasn't cleared the defence. As Hamlin picks it up, straightens himself up, looks for McArdle. He hasn't taken much this afternoon. Got a couple of goals, but they were early in the day. Down there, pushed off the ball was McGowan. He must be tired. Worked so well in that first half, out of the middle of the ground.
Mark, when you start looking forward to the finals, Central Districts and their chances, they're still in the top 3. They'll have a couple of cracks at it, but you just worry that they've been so dominant today, but their key forwards still haven't been able to get into the game and kick a bag full of goals. Come September, then they'll need to be able to do that.
You're right there, Michael. Well summed up now. Getting a little bit messy out there at the moment. Players just missing the target, not picking the ball up first time. And eventually, we'll come back to Nathan Steinburner. What will he do with it? No doubt will go wide. There's a loose player, and Scotty Lee needs those old leads to get pumping. He finally does that in front of Burgoyne. Wants to get the ball moving. He can spot players loose by themselves. Looks inside, shields the eyes, and looks down the line. So Scotty Lee, the veteran for the Bulldogs, puts it up high. Back there is Archie. In front was Ford. Again, Graham got support inside. Hicks from full back has run down and spots the player. Beautifully does Hicks. He finds number 21, Christopher Gowans.
That was very well done by Hicks. Chased the ball down, lifted the eyes, summed up his options, then kicked around the body to a leading Gowans. He just left his man for dead. We have another shot on goal.
So Christopher Gowans get to kick a goal this afternoon. That's those 3 behinds on the board. Maybe 4. We'll wait for the umpire's decision. One finger goes up.
He's not happy with himself. The only blemish on the afternoon really is from the Gowans brothers. But they have been fantastic through the midfield. Chris is now playing out of the forward pocket. And again, he's getting the ball in the forward line and supplying a leading option.
Trent Orman-Allen brings the ball back into play. He's got a lead out here from Waite, and good work coming back on the ball by Hopwood. Gets the ball over the line.
Hopwood's been good this afternoon, Neil. He really has been around the ball.
Yeah, 27 touches for Hopwood. There you go, 20 kicks, 7 hand passes. So the ball back into play. Spinagle, just his 17th game of league football. Ball over the back, Bello now. Quick hands, and there's McGowan, pops up for another stat, if you don't mind. On the left leg. That's not his preferred option, but it was good enough, wasn't it?
I think he'd prefer the option of kicking a goal. Not renowned for that raking left foot by any means, but it just came out. Plenty of time. Marco Bello picked it up, went out wide. McGowan there had enough time, just chipped it around his body. There wasn't a lot of angle, but he was good enough to slot it through. And Central Districts now, they're only at a canter, but they're just running away with the game.
This is a record margin against Port, and look, I don't think I've ever seen this before. I've seen Port Adelaide people walking out.
Oh no. It becomes contagious, let me tell you.
There's one player that's played reasonably well this afternoon for Port Adelaide is Didak. He really has tried hard on his wing or half forward.
He was named All-Australian last week, or during the week. He's had 16 possessions and kicked a goal for the Magpies, one of their 2, and also had 5 grabs in the air. Well, again, Moller just too strong there. Bello nearly took it. Ducking the head there was Waite. Be a struggle there. Well, he needs to get rid of the ball. The umpire, Ron Bettridge, gives him the benefit of the doubt. Will come in and ball up once again. Members wing side. 15.5 minutes gone. 99-point margins. The bounce down. Bello pushed off the ball there by Bamford. He takes on Moller. Coming through Waite again. And really is a strength of the Magpies trying to get that ball forward, but then pushed off it beautifully by Bello. This allows the Magpies a little bit of space. Hopwood again kicks the ball up towards Healy. He takes it, then runs off. Evans wasn't ready for that. The kick is beautifully placed. Scotty leads soccer, baby. What can he do? He couldn't quite get the right leg to it. And again, it's out of bounds to be thrown in the forward pocket for the Bulldogs.
Orman-Allen is an athlete. He went number 10 in the draft about 5 or 6 years ago in the AFL draft. He hasn't played a lot of top quality football, but one thing about him, he can jump.
We know he can ruck too, of course. We've seen him do that. So the ball back into play, and Port Adelaide will clear their zone with McGuinness. Put the ball on to boot, and Moller says thank you very much. Slick hand pass, well done. Cross to Hamblin. On the lead was Gowans. Ball fell loose over the back. Lee puts the pressure on. Eventually, somehow it got out of there. I think it kicked off the ground in the end, but only to a Centrals player. And it goes back to Ricky McGowan, and he'll line up for his 3rd goal from about 45 metres. Look, Michael, you'd have to say they have to take heart, though, Port Adelaide, because they will have a lot of people coming back in future weeks. Just at the moment, they look pretty ordinary.
Absolutely. There's a lot of players missing, a lot of guys going up to the AFL, a lot of injuries, but it's just not a performance you'd expect from a Port Adelaide football team.
So McGowan comes in. and spots up, and the umpire moves to his right and says no, that's just a behind. So Centrals, just the even 100-point win. I think they'll be satisfied with that. They call it quits now. Interesting pair.
Yes, there's going to be one woman with a smile on her face. I know who's getting breakfast in bed tomorrow, I would think.
So the Magpies bring it back in. Trent Orman Allen across to Evans. Evans, he spotted play. The Brosnan's just come on to give Spinagle a rest. Wants to give the handball. You could sum that up pretty quickly. McGuinness, well, he's had a quiet afternoon. Gets the kick in before being tackled. Good use of the body. But the Bulldogs, again, they've just done this so many times this afternoon. Quick hands and tight. Just it really has been a great effort. Staying in their back line. Norman Allen again goes for the spoil. The Bulldogs players sit down. Gowers, they just need the ball to sit up. It didn't. Again, Evans comes through. And behind play, we see Corey Archie just limping away from that contest. But it's just outside of half forward now for the Magpies. As Clayton comes up with the football, gives it back to umpire Bettridge. And as McGowan, we'll wait for the applause. There will be one, no doubt, this afternoon for the captain. He's worked hard, deserves the effort, and deserves the accolades as Arnold's come on for another run for the afternoon.
Yeah, Ricky McGowan leaving the field, I think, with 37 touches under his belt. It's a fair day out in the midfield of Adelaide Oval, isn't it? And Central District surge forward once more. Chance to score.
Chance to score, but and over the back. There you go, no problems at all. Arnold takes it, chips it into the middle, running onto it, the veteran. There he is, Scotty Lee. Turn around. And you'd think from 25 metres out or thereabouts, he should be able to slot this home for Central's 19th goal as we just passed the 19-minute mark in the final term.
Yeah, it is really just a procession now for Central Districts, isn't it? Stephen Williams in the coach's box, still swinging the changes, just trying to get some fight. I see Corey Archie's now going back to centre half back, but Scotty Lee will kick this goal.
Well, I was waiting to put the moz on him with that, but no, he just managed to get it through, no problems at all.
Scotty Lee,
second.
Yeah, the second goal today, being used as a pinch hitter these days by Coach Peter Jonas. We see him start on the bench often. He's started on the ground today, but spent 3 or 4 sessions on the bench. But when he's been on the ground, he's rugged around the ball. He's got good skills, and he's a great leader for this bunch of Bulldogs. And he's very, very pleased to kick those goals now that he moves forward. Played a lot of his footy at full back, back pocket, but he's become a goal kicker in the last couple of years.
106-point margin to the Bulldogs. No doubt their biggest over the Magpies again. We've got Bamford just throws the ball out. Ashley comes through, kicks the ball over his shoulder, gets it up towards Burgoyne. Back there again was Graham. Burgoyne's second effort was good, gives it across. Looked like Fee gets up in the forward lines. Well, Williams is just trying to get something going there, moving his back line players into the forward line. But again, another behind. It's only 2 goals been kicked by the Magpies this afternoon. One going to Julian Waite, the other to Didak.
Hicks will bring the ball back into play. Interesting, Michael, 98 marks, plays 49. So despite the fact they haven't had real service out of their key forward, Central District, they've managed to outmark Port most of the day. The ball comes back down, though, from that marking contest and kicked forward by Fegert. Just puts it up 20 metres from goal. Contest now, Ashley tries to shake it off and, well, there's a free kick for over the shoulder, and Matthew Ashley will go back and have a pot shot from 20 metres.
Yes, clearly over the shoulder there. Good decision from the umpire. Matthew Ashley going back with an opportunity to put Port Adelaide's 3rd goal on the board.
It wasn't a very hard decision, was it? It was pretty much there. Pretty much straight in front of the umpire, but we've seen those miss before. As Ashley lines up, and confirmation. I think some of the Centrals boys were actually cheering that one as well. They managed to get their 3rd goal, Port Adelaide. 3 goals, 10-28, plays Central Districts, 19-13, 1-2-7.
Yes, a little bit of joy for the Port Adelaide cheer squad. They get the black and white flags out and give it a wave. But you're right, pretty easy decision there from the umpire. Over the shoulder, Port Adelaide get their 3rd one on the board, 3-10-28. is not a healthy scoreboard from an SAFNL league team.
Well, back to 99 points is the scoreline. The Bulldogs, 19 goals 13, 3 goals 10, only to the Magpies this afternoon. Moller again just tries to flick the ball back to Scotty Lee. Couldn't find him. In there is Danny Holm. And a ball just snared there by Scotty Lee. Pushes it forward. Running support was inside by Gowans, but Hamlin goes it alone. The kick wasn't good. Collins takes it and runs on with the football. Chips the ball up high now. Comes out wide. Will it be kept in? I don't think it will be. Didak just couldn't. He took the mark, but it was already over the boundary line. So Holm takes the free kick. Plays on now as he goes over his mark. His only option is to pump the ball towards centre half forward. Ford comes out hard, comes off his shin, goes forward about 30 or 40 metres for the Magpies. They have numbers now. What can they do? Didak runs around, kicks the ball up high. Back there is a Filippo. With him is Hicks. The ball bounces over the back of both of those players. Has he kept it in? I don't think he has. No, the umpire has blown the whistle and it's out. But the other games, all the Eagles, look like they've won that with a 50-point margin over the Double Blues. And Michael, West by 11 points over Glenelg, so maybe they get home there. And Norwood, well, quite good winners there at Prospect by 74 points so far, as there are progressive scores in those other games.
And of course, a 99-point margin here, and Centrals are up. And the last time Port Adelaide kicked just 3 goals in a game was at Prospect in 1949. So it's been a long time since they've been this bad. Ball down, and it's Vines on, sorry, not Vines, that was out on the full anyway. I don't think Fraser would want me to identify him after that kick. So Danny Holm takes the ball for Central District. So we see just going 24 minutes, past the 24 minutes in the final quarter. He chips it out, Holm, 24 possessions for Holm. 28 in fact. So I'm led to believe now. Just misread the screen. So Central's just virtually seeing out time at the moment as Steinburner takes the ball and away they go on a run. Graham gives it back to Steinburner. Trails through the middle of the ground and then kicks to centre half forward. And the ball, well done by McArdle, managed to get the ball away and eventually taken to ground was Kane Ackland. Umpire calls a halt, says I'll have it. Can't be too much time left. We've just about gone to the 25-minute mark of this final term.
And it's possibly a good time to start looking for better players. Port Adelaide's list is pretty thin. I can find maybe Darren Fraser. McGuinness has got a bit of the ball. And Alan Didak, I think, was clearly their best.
Crunch in the middle of the ground. Sorry, Michael, but yeah, left a couple of Central District players bruised. I think Alan Didak's hurt himself too. As down in defence, Ormond Allen takes the ball. He's got running for him. Way loose is Bamford. Bamford looks up though and he hasn't really got much except Fegert, and that's a contest. And the ball is punched away. Eventually McGuinness wrapped up by Holm and he'll get tossed. There it is. Yep. You can see that, the wrestle hold he had on him, and he was going to get tossed, and that's what happened. There'd be a frustrated group of people, I think.
Absolutely. And Danny Holm, he's probably one of the ones that head the list of best players for Central Districts, but there's a whole school of them. We'll just run through them. Bello, Daniel Stevens has had a great second half. Both the Hicks boys have played well, Damien in particular. The Gowans brothers, Rick McGowan, Moller's been pretty good in the ruck, so has Arnold. Murray Hamlin, Heath Hopwood's had a bunch of the ball, and Daniel Healy, he supplied the goal-kicking power early, as we see Filippo with an opportunity to put another goal on the board for Port Adelaide, one they sadly need.
It's Filippo's first mark for the day too, so he's had a very ordinary day out, hasn't he? He's not alone, of course, as he lines up from about 40 metres out. His opponent, Damien Hicks, has had a good day out, and Filippo looks pretty safe, that one. Another goal, I think, will be the result. Umpire gives it the all clear. So a goal to Port Adelaide, just their fourth. So the Magpies move along to 14:34, trailing the Bulldogs. 19-13, 127.
Yes, the margin is still an impressive one for the Dogs. They've had a good day out. They set it up in that first quarter. But it's good to see Port Adelaide just get a little bit of respectability back in their score. There's not a lot. And Sam Filippo, he's going to go home tonight and wonder about where the opportunities went.
We see there 127 plays, 34. It's been a great game of football by the Bulldogs. It started in the first quarter where they led by 51 points. Improved on that in the second quarter. They went out to 81 points. They really have been, and that really was when the game was over by half time. Well, Ford just chips it up. Over the top of there was Hamlin, couldn't quite get back to it, or Hopwood it was. This time, Cockatoo Collins just gets around Hopwood again. Comes to Julian Waite. He punches the ball down the line, but sitting back there is Gowans. Gowans turns around, spots the play, puts him a little bit of pressure, but able to take the mark was the ruckman and Moller. As players streaming past him, Daniels crosses Scotty lead, he just stops and then sums up the situation. You can see a lead up forward by Gowans as well. Archie, left leg, goes with the awkward little torpedo. Back there is Scotty Lee again with Didak, with the oldest bloke with the youngest bloke out there this afternoon picking each other up. The Iceman, what can he do under this situation? Gives a handball across to Didak, left leg. He should be able to bring this home, the youngster. He may have done that, but it looks like it's gone across the face of goal. It has, and it's out of bounds to be thrown in.
Yes, the sting gone out of the game now. A convincing victory for the Bulldogs, but Port Adelaide, they're just going through the motions, waiting for that final siren to go, and maybe hoping for 1 or 2 more goals to appear on the scoreboard at the end of the day.
28.5 minutes, can't be too long to go, as Hicks breaks away out of defence, gives it to Holm, works his way back into the centre corridor, and but for a bit of a fumble by Lee, he would have got it free of the defensive 50. Bello over the ball, eventually springs free, and now Bamford lines up from 45 metres, gets it across the goal face. Good mark. The Hicks brothers share it around, and eventually McGuinness takes it, and there's another behind. Well, that was a comedy of errors, really. The Hicks boys very confident because, of course, they should be confident when you look at the scoreboard. It's not like it's going to make too much difference. In the end, the errors let in McGuinness, and he missed the goal.
A little bit too comfortable there was Hicks. Would have got away with it in the first half, but not in the second half. As you wait for the ball to come back there, Michael.
Yeah, that's a goal we're just used to seeing Phil McGuinness kick, aren't we? He's just very good around goals. And it's just a reflection of the day that the Magpies have had.
Well, you're right about the Bulldogs. I mean, most of their major goal kickers this afternoon has come from Daniel Stevens, who really has roamed everywhere this afternoon. He's kicked 3, and also with James Gowan across the midfield, he's kicked 3, and Daniel Healy from half-forward wing, he's also kicked 3. But the full-time scores there, Mike, we see the Bulldogs very convincing winners this afternoon with 19 goals, 13, 127. The Magpies, well, you can't believe it, just 4 goals this afternoon, 11 behind, 35. As we see the Bulldogs celebrating, the song's playing in the background. It really has been a very, very impressive performance after last week's effort against the Eagles, which wasn't so good.
Yes, you'd think that Coach Peter Jonas would be pretty happy with that. Probably a lack of aggression through mid-parts of that third quarter, but the man on screen, the captain of the club, Daniel Holm, he was clearly their standout early. You see Peter Jonas shaking hands. They've done a great job.